hopefully, fingers crossed, the game will begin, because the pick phase has been... Oh, here we go. Boom. 9, 8. And the final game of the brackets, I believe, so the winner of this will move forward into the lower bracket final, is on. It's going to be Joshua versus Cojito. Cojito in the north, Joshua in the south. Thanks for the story, Ghosty. It was indeed... It will never make YouTube, but that story will not make it to YouTube, I'm telling you now. So... yeah, I'm glad you've heard it. It will not be spoken about again. But it's always good to, you know, it's good to laugh. I mean, if you're not going to laugh, what else are we going to do, you know? You've got to be able to poke fun at yourself every now and again. So I'm glad you liked it. And for all of the Germans out there, apologies for my... I have a present for you to unpack. Ah, interesting. I don't have a story about telling a woman yeah. No, RJD, I think you're doing it right. I think I was doing it wrong. Never mind, guys. A game of Bite Battles has just begun. We're on piece of cake difficulty with 18 players in the north, 19 on the south, and another few people still to be picked. The game has begun, and with piece of cake difficulty, we are going to see a developed game this time round. Yesterday's game on hard mode meant that we saw a accelerated version of Bite Battles today. This one is for the purists. We are going to be going about 2, maybe 3 hours long, depending on, you know, the structure of the game, how each team decides to play this out. But yeah, we're on for a good one, I think, with some very strong players on North, and equally so some very strong players on South. This opening phase of the game is really indicative of what captain prioritizes what first. You need to build a base, and to do so you need to pick a space in which your base exists. Let me real quick, I'm just going to drop the audio a teeny tiny amount. And we're going to go over the map real quick, because I do have my drawing tools, and I do like to use them every now and again, sparingly, obviously sparingly. So we have a couple of choices we want to make, right? So we can either build far to the left. Ah, interesting. Ness Main Ultimate. I can guess what game that's from. But do not worry, I'm more than happy to explain what this is, what we do here, how you win, and everything in between. At the beginning of the game, you need to build a base, and you have 2 choices. You either build base to the left of the central position, or to the right. And as you can tell, guys, MS Paint, come on. Who else do you know has managed to get MS Paint working in stream? I don't want to know, but it's got to be just me. So you're either building to the left or to the right, and then from there we need to send a task force of players down the middle to start engaging with the bugs and fighting them back. And that leads us to the central idea. Why are we here, and what are we here to do? And Ness, thank you for asking the question. I will get to that right away. At the beginning of the game, both teams are given a building, a structure, in the form of a rocket silo. This rocket silo must be defended at all times during the game. So if a bug were to make it down to this building on the south, and the north have the similar building up here in exactly the same position, if a bug was to reach this and attack it and kill it, the game is over for that team. So the game is to survive the bugs and the pressure that is on the map, constantly evolve your base, so by researching up the tech tree and getting things like laser towers to defend your base, to get certain science levels to give you deeper research, all whilst your other team is pressuring your map. So this map is effectively, you build a base, you make the enemy bugs stronger, and you hope that the enemy bugs run at their base and kill their base off before your base dies. At the moment, the bugs are 0% evolved, but over the course of a game, these bugs will become stronger, faster, there'll be more of them, there'll just be going to be loads and loads of action and aggression on the map. But at the beginning of the game, they're very small, they're very, very weak, and you can kill them with the most basic pistol and basic ammo that you get given at the beginning of the game. Later, when the bugs become stronger, you're going to need, as we can see here, Bus Driver's doing the same. He's managing to grab a couple of bugs, and he's just very easy to kill them off at the beginning of the game. Now, Bus Driver is doing a particular role at the moment that I'll explain in a little bit of time, but at the moment he is fighting the bugs. He's being aggressive towards them, and there's a reason why we do that, and I'll explain that reason in a minute. But just so you know, the crux of this game mode is to build a base, to defend it at all costs. You have to do it very quickly, and bear in mind the players in both North and South are some of the best Factorio players that are out there. You know, we're going to get to purple signs within the first 40 minutes of a game. Just think about that for a second. If I was to play a solo game of Factorio, well, actually, let's not take me because I'm the exception to the rule. If any normal person was to play Factorio, they wouldn't be able to get anywhere near Purple Science in the first 40 minutes. Maybe the first 4 hours. So we're seeing a very compact, very efficient game of Factorio playing itself out, where one team on the south is fighting for survival against one team on the north. Yeah, I think it's Carl. I think Carl is the... Look, C for Carl. Carl is the main base builder on south, with a couple of support players that will aid him. And I believe what they're going to do is split off a couple of outposts. Here we go. Clutch is out here. Caliph is out here. Massive Blue's out. And Just Bob to the east. Yeah, interesting. So there are a couple of roles. And I know you guys, I explain this every game, but I know that we always have new people in. So please, if you're a long-term watcher of the game, you understand. I just want to make sure that we bring everybody along with us and we don't lose anybody in. The player in Vegetable Smelter is usually the main builder. Ah, interesting. So Cojito is... I think he's what's the word? Delegating stuff to Carl. I'd trust Carl to run main base for sure. He's a very, very strong player. So we have a couple of roles at the beginning of the game. This opening area at the center of at the top of the map or bottom of the map, depending on what side you're on, this is your main base area. All of these ore patches will be wired up to miners after building a really large power block over time, obviously. At the beginning of the game, there isn't a lot. We don't have anything automated at the start of the game. And that will all be fed into a large amount of smelting that will then start producing us items and science that will help us play our game and develop in the way that we want to. The south have opted to build their smelting lines to the left-hand side, moving from east to west. Not every team will look at doing it this way. Potentially, maybe north will make their smelting lines out here, or maybe even possibly a little bit above. But yeah, as we start the game, this little area here, this is our main base area. Some players will spend the entirety of this game in this spot because there's a lot to do. I'm not going to go into the depth of that yet because we'll see it happen as the game goes on, but this is one place that you can play, this main base area. Another place you can play, if you're on the south for instance, is right in front of the bugs. These guys are called threat farmers. The bugs are the threat and they are farming the threat down. If the bugs' numbers are in a negative, so if you go and fight the bugs and you kill them off before they get aggressive to you, so you're like a magnet to them, right? You get, they're like zombies almost, you know, they kind of aggress onto you the moment they smell your blood. If you can run at them and kill them at the beginning of a game, you stop them from spawning in and becoming aggressive. So the key takeaway here is that if you get to the bugs first, then you can attack them and make them passive. So for instance, if we look on the north, the threat number is positive. It's only 14, which is nothing really. But yeah, that means that in the north, the bugs at any time can come down the map and begin attacking your base. If you start taking the fight to the bugs at the beginning of the game, and you drive the threat number into a negative, the bugs must passively spawn this many of them before they then become aggressive again and come and fight down the map. It's a little bit of a weird one, threat farming, and we'll see more of that later on as the game goes on, but this is a tactic that's employed in almost every game mode now. I don't think there is a game mode that's in existence where this isn't relevant, or needed or necessary even. So outside of that, we have a couple of people building bases away from the main base area. These are typically called outposters. This will be a pre-made group of individuals. Remember guys, we don't do blueprints in this game. You can't load into a game with no BPs. You have to make all of your blueprints once you land in the server. So out in the edges of the map, we have these groups of individuals, groups of players. Normally the strongest players in the game will identify an area of resources which are larger than that of main base that will help build a secondary satellite base, sometimes even larger than main. And they will have their own production line. So sometimes they make laser towers, sometimes they'll make research, and sometimes they'll be making a rocket. And I believe today's game we may see some rockets being sent into space. And you are right, Trixana. No threat farm. Well, in Fast and Fun, you are the threat and you get farmed because the bugs just, the moment you land on the map, they just have a fight with you. You know, the moment you spawn in, it's like, you want some? I'll give it you. And they just come at you straight away. Horrible. That game mode, next to Nightmare mode, is terrible. So yeah, as we can see now, the very beginning of this large smelting column is being put down. And we see already the very beginnings of some metal plates, some iron plates are being made. To make this, obviously, all we need to do is put down some electric miners on top of some iron ore, power that with a couple of steam-powered engines over here, with some coal inside and a little bit of water pumped in, and that will boil up some power to allow us to automate the making of plates. These plates down the line will feed into a longer production chain, and as most of you guys know, one production chain leads into another, so you can take a basic material, transform it into something new, and then push it down the line into something even more advanced, and before you know it, you have your blue chips, your red chips, your flame towers, your cars, your tanks, your uranium ammunition, everything in between, your personal laser turrets, your power armor. We don't start with any of this stuff, we have to research it. And so, as the game goes on, our base will be threatened by the bugs, and we need to kind of deal with that threat as and when we see fit in the right way possible. So yeah, this is going to be an attritional game. What I don't want any new watcher of the game to see this and think this is a sandbox. The other team is actively planning and plotting a way of stopping you from doing what is currently happening to I'll start again. It's been a long day. So the opposition team have a plan to counter your plan. They'll be watching you do this from the other side of the aisle, the other side of the map, and they'll be planning and plotting a way to unpick this. On the other side of the map, so if you're on the south or the north, you have the ability to influence the bugs, to make them stronger, to power them up, to throw buffs at the bugs, and make them a problem for your team. In a game mode like today's, piece of cake difficulty dictates that there won't be a lot of pressure being thrown early in the game, but what that will lead to is some of the later game sciences, so our production, utility and space science, which do massive amounts of mutation damage, so these mutate the bugs massively. We'll see lots of this science being thrown, so I believe what we're looking at now is the beginning of a long run. And when I say long, the games that went up on YouTube yesterday were about 40 minutes long. I think one game went just over 60 minutes, but by the time 40 minutes came around, the game was pretty much done. One team had been absolutely crumbled. This game in particular, I believe that we're going to go to around about the 1.5 hour mark. If either side haven't got their defenses set, their walls built, their flamer towers researched and built, at the 1.5 hour mark, I genuinely am worried for a team in that respect. And remember guys, you can gamble, so there's a prediction up, you can gamble your channel points. After this game, I believe there's only 3 more. Not today, but there will be 3 more tournament games, with the last of it being the grand final. So yeah, there's a chance to win a lot of channel points here, whether you believe North or South will have the game in the bag. It's hard to tell at the beginning of the game, because we're still seeing everything kind of is a bit more slow, a bit more deliberate. We don't have a lot of things automated, so everything is being hand-placed. Once this is up and running, the game begins to accelerate into a faster, stronger team. A faster, stronger game style, so... Oh dude, we already have oil being eyed out. Toddy believes in South. Enkling is a North enjoyer. Well, Enkling, take your hundreds and hundreds of points and gamble them, responsibly obviously, for the North. I like the North setup. I like who they've got on their team. But having the right players and playing the right ways is certainly a different thing entirely, so let's see if they can pull it off, but... South always wins, it's rigged. I don't know if that's entirely true. I think there's like a 51 or 52%. My prediction always missed. So this is where Enkling, if you had both accounts, Enkling 1 could vote for North, and then Enkling 2 could log into Twitch and vote for South. And that way, at least one of your predictions will be correct. 100% success rate. So yeah, right, I'm going to take a quick swig of my tea, and then we'll do a scan around the map to see who's doing what. And again, we have Sherbal and Uwu. I'm going to call him Meow. I made my prediction. Go to sleep, wake up tomorrow and found my bet loss. Oh damn, dude. Well, Enkling, if there's a way of me refunding your channel points, I'll see if I can do it. But do you know what, mate? It's just good to have you in. It's good to have you in watching, You don't have to bet, by the way, guys. It's all fake money anyway. Obviously, gamble responsibly if you do gamble, but you don't have to. And yeah, that is the start of the game. The game has begun. I quite like this play, being made by Gaming Guy and coincidentally Massive Blue on the south. They found a coal patch and they've just decided this will be individual power block. I'm sure out here all that's going to be made, yeah, some iron plates. They're going to pull some coal out the ground, and then just an individual power cell is going to be created in this area. And again, the bases will become so big and so large that they're going to need massive amounts of power. You know, what I love about this game mode more than anything is just how fast these bases grow. But not only that, the scale at which they improve. I mean, we don't really see bots. That's an interesting one actually. I should have asked this question yesterday. Guys, is making bots not meta anymore? I don't think I've seen a single game in the last 3, maybe 4 weeks where a single like repair pack in a bot, you know, no logi bots, no construction bots. Is bots like not a thing anymore? Because it used to be the staple. I mean, maybe in POC we might see some automated bots. They've fallen out of the meta. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. It's quite a greedy play to make. No, I wanted to, dude. I wanted to. I logged into my friends' players are the bots. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. I see. Yeah, because on ITYTD, you're going to need those enormous smelting organic bots. Still, though, I kind of miss it. I mean, you don't need loads, but if I'm an outpost, let's say if I'm Califabop or if I'm Clutch, just a few bots. Although, to be fair, researching them takes its own time. So, and if you're not going towards like white science, then you don't need them. So I kind of get that too, to be fair. And that's true, mate. Enkling's completely right. You do need 4 extra researches, and those 4 researches is not slow. It's not quick, sorry. Very slow. All right, first death of the game, guys. I might be wrong, but Alpha Geometry has died to a worm. So just F in chat, boys. Remember to press F to pay respects. And that's not an easy worm to deal with. A medium worm at the beginning of the game. Terrible. Probably bit off a little bit more than he can. Chew there. But yeah, I do love. Although to be fair, bots were abused a little bit. You know, you'd see people place down these enormous blueprints and not actually fill them out themselves. And it's where I think speedrunners come into their own here. Is that they are literally as fast as placing a blueprint and allowing bots to do it as well. So people like Ness, for instance, yeah, incredibly fast. And Jimmy with the outpost. Okay, I didn't spot this. Ness, no, you're right, mate. You are right. I didn't go fully into detail, and that is because I don't have access to the panel. So if I'm a player of the game, at the moment I'm spectating. I'm over here in this little green suit here. But when you in the game as a player, you have a box on the left-hand side of your screen. And in this box, you have lots of buttons that allow you to send science. The only way that you can send science is that you build it yourself. So at the beginning of the game, a lot of the science that we make we use for research, because we need to kind of get out of the start of the game. But as an individual player, let's say for instance you are Ness over here, you could go into your inventory and you could hand make maybe 10 red jugs, for instance. And if I'm on the south and 10 red jugs are sent over, that is going to change the evolution from 2.4% to 2.6%. It's a very small change. Let's make that 100. Let's say at the beginning of the game you make 100 red jugs and you throw them over. You click on your button over here in the panel on the left. I don't have that panel because I'm spectating. And we throw 100 jugs. Now that's the difference. The evolution on the south will go from 2% to 4.5. And what that means is these bugs, they gain health, they gain strength, and they gain speed. So they become more dangerous. So you have to build science to research, which is number one, very important, that you get some research and you make you get your green chips and you have your engines and you have your red belts, all of the important things that you need to play the game. But you can also take science and throw it over to the enemy team. And when you click that button, it will do a percentage increase. So, you know, green and red science are the basic ones. They don't do a lot of change in the game. You can send lots of them and you can make lots of them, but they're not going to change a lot. However, let's go to the late game science. Okay, so right now, if we were to add 1,000 jugs of yellow science, right? So yellow is the second highest. 1,000 jugs would make these bugs 77%. Right, so they're 2 now. 77%. Oh, and also the number will increase by 24,000. So by sending science, you make more bugs and you make them stronger. And they never go backwards. Once they go up, they can only keep going up. So they'll never go below 2 or 10 or 20%. Once they hit certain levels, they will evolve into larger bugs. So at the beginning of the game, whilst they're very weak, it's very important to shoot them. There is more going on here than initially seems, but we need players to fight the bugs as they are very weak. Later they'll become too strong. And that's the simplest way I can explain it, without going into numbers and going into maths. This is a good play to make, and it's unfortunate that Heptadecagon has gone down right now, because yeah, they'll need to kill bugs for quite some time now. But as the game goes on, I'll go into more detail about that playstyle. At the beginning of the game though, as you can see already guys, look how I was here a minute ago, like 60 seconds ago. Look at all of these labs. Look how fast research is going to go. And here we go. So the south are researching engines, and it's pretty much already done. We'll stay here. Let's see how fast fluid handling gets researched, because this is what makes the game mode so fun. Nothing is slow. You know, oh, you want fluid handling? 10 seconds later, bang, we have it. You want oil jacks? Yeah, give me 20 seconds, we'll have oil pumps instantly. So yeah, we've made a lot of science, we're feeding a lot of labs, and we're getting research in very fast. I'm not suggesting violence, mate, but the best form of the good defense is a strong offense. You know, is my take on it. So the reason we come out and shoot these at the beginning of the game is because in an hour's time, there's no chance. And I really do hope, RJD, I really do hope we see some kind of walling off. You know, defenses yesterday in the 2 really chaotic games, they really did pay off. Even though they weren't the most organized walls you could potentially have, just even a few stone furnaces and a flame tower behind that is good enough. So I wonder what the defensive play is out here from either side. Obviously, the north, they're a little bit slower on their labs. You know, they don't have as many down at the moment. So you could make an argument that the south are kind of ahead purely just off scale. You know, with this many labs researching as fast as they are, they're just able to just get down that technology tree a little bit quicker. Here we go, automation. Yeah, they've just managed to lock in some research early on that the north haven't got. They're still waiting to research this stuff. So that doesn't necessarily mean that the south have won, but what they've done is they've taken that enormous blueprint. They've taken all of the ore that they have at the beginning of the game, and they're managing to make the most of it. So the reason why the game is quick is because everybody has a job to do. Everybody has a role to fill. And at the moment, what we're seeing now is, yeah, research is just flying through, absolutely flying through. Now, what I'd like to see is potentially maybe... Oh, well, yeah, I mean, look at this. We're already seeing oil being taken into account. We're 23 minutes into a game, guys. If you and I were to start, well, maybe not me, but if you and a normal person were to start a game of Factorio, the opening 20 minutes, you'd have maybe a couple of, like 2 of these down, maybe. You know, you'd still be like handcrafting stuff or punching trees. This is what you can achieve with 20, yeah, dude, now look, 20 on north, 21 on south. Big teams, man, big teams. And it's not going to slow down from here. I really like this play from Massive Blue, and equally so from the northern counterpart and Gaming Guy and Alpha Geometry. Power is something we need all the way through the game. We may even, and I did notice this earlier on, we have uranium ore very close to us. So there is potential maybe we see a nuclear reactor. If we're going to go to rockets, nuclear power is really, really useful. And there is a lot of copper not too far away from main base. And for any of you guys that don't know, to build up that nuclear reactor, copper is one of the largest and most aggressive resources that's consumed, so you need a ton of it to get to the end game. And again, the worm has killed alpha geometry. This is now 2-0. The KDA of this worm is 2-0. First time catching you live. Welcome in. Nice to have you. When will I play again? Therein lies the. We talked about this last. Not retired yet. We spoke about this last week, but I want to go a bit more into detail on it today. Is that the meta has changed, and so what I need to do is I need to play casual games and rediscover my builds, and also tweak and change things. So the way I used to play and the way I used to win. Sadly, I have no time to play. Hey, dude, firstly, thank you for following the content and watching stuff. And even if you don't have time to play, you're more than welcome to join us on Twitch or watch, down the line. These tournament games have been fantastic, and we are very close to a grand final. I think there's 2 more games to decide who's in the upper bracket final, and then we have a grand final to follow. So the next couple of games that you'll see on YouTube will be very high quality. Not just because I'm talking, even though when I do talk it is high quality, mostly because the gameplay and the people involved are very highly skilled. And to go back to Bino's points, I'm playing very soon. I've dug up a lot of old builds, and I need to test myself out in the normal games we have during the week. So you're probably going to see me load up, and I'm probably going to stream it, not so that people can point and laugh and watch how great I am, but more just to kind of check in on myself, to time myself and see if I'm still as fast as I was before, as well as kind of checking in on some of the builds. I can kind of watch the video back and see what I did right and wrong. Because I believe, and it's just me thinking out loud here, there are a few things that are done at the moment that don't need to be done, and I believe there are a few things that we could do, a few mechanics, let's say, without giving away too much of the secret sauce, that aren't being used enough of, or sometimes even at all, that might be able to give you an advantage in a game. So as a solo player, sorry, I'm just gonna have a quick drink, my voice is going. After casting for 2 days in a row now, unfortunately my voice is gravel, so... So, yeah, back to what I was saying. What was I saying? I've just completely blanked on that. Yeah, sorry, I remember what I was talking about. As an individual player, you can have a massive impact to help your team. And that can be something as simple as building walls. For instance, Massive Blue is over here, and he's building huge power block, right? This is, as an individual player, you couldn't have a bigger impact, because this power is going to be needed all the way through the game. And as you can see, they've even put the power poles down, and that power is linked back to main base. Leave it with me. Again, Psycho, I will put all of the links, the relevant links, into chat now for you. I should have all of that stuff set up, but I've been away for a while. So, this is the link to the Discord. And if you, and again, guys, any link that you see posted here from me, these are the official links. So these links will take you directly to the thing. There's nothing malicious about any of this stuff. I got you. If you want to have a look at stats and look up people's elo and look up your own ranking, this BB Raven Patrol link has links to, you'll even be able to see the current game. So you'll be able to, so for instance, if I click on that now, and I just drag that over the screen, all of these people are currently in the main game. And let's just click on somebody, for instance, Jimmy50 has 930 elo. I click on him, I can see his wins and losses, I can see his ranking, his rating, I can see who he plays well with. And obviously we love our stats, we are nerds in this game mode. We can check out how fast his science builds are. If he's a main base builder, this is a really important stat to look at. And then you can go through other games. So he won a game 5 days ago, let's have a look. Who's playing? Well, there's only 3 or 4 people. What happened? Who did what, you know? So this stuff is really important. I'm not going to bore you too much with it, but that link there. Now, bear in mind, guys, if you look up my stats, it's been a while since I played, and so my stats have dropped. The last, I think, 10 or 15 games I played, I actively played with new players and did teaching. So I don't have a lot of wins to my name recently, or in recent memory. But before they swapped over, I was basically unbeaten, you know. Just imagine the rank, just put number 1 next to my name. Scar, welcome in, mate. There are different number of players on each team, that's correct. We try and balance things out as much as possible. So it's 21 to 20. But we do appreciate a game mode like this piece of cake difficulty will go on for a couple of hours, probably 2 or 3. So what some people do is at the beginning of the game, they'll make a play and then they'll go off and make some food or have a drink or have a stretch, and then they'll come back in 10, 20 minutes time. So the average player team should be around about 20, but it might drop for people going away and having a coffee or having a dinner. But yeah, in the quick game modes, we tend to see even teams that stay the same. But yeah, you're right though, it can sometimes be stacked. And we try and avoid one team, having way too many people. The sushi build. Oh yeah, dude, holy. Because you can mix fluids now, right? And that's just it. I'm so far removed from the update of the game that sushi oil is a thing. In fact, are we going to see that from either side? We may see that from the north. RJD, I will not complain. So yeah, I need to. So yeah, I'm going to be playing again. You'll be seeing me streaming during the week. Don't feel like you need to make it to those games. It'll just be me playing. Like, spectating the game is one thing, but playing it is completely different. I'm a lot more involved in, the mechanics of the game when I play. So I don't do as much commentary. I try and talk as much as possible, but I don't do as much commentary as before, as I'm doing, when I'm doing this kind of thing. That being said though, it is fun, I believe. And if you want to check out previous games, and I should have done this earlier, but I'll do this now, everything will be uploaded to YouTube. And if you want to watch a game of me playing, I definitely have a few of them up there. There's even a game where in the middle of the game, basically the captain leaves and they're like, Ghosty, you've got to take over. And so like an hour and a half into a game, it's not my base. I just take the game over and we win. So yeah, all the historic games you'll find up on here, including a couple where I turn up and play. So if you want to watch a game of me playing, it will be the old meta, and I'll put that out there now. The meta has changed a little bit since that last time I played, but not so much that it's completely different. So there's just a few tweaks and a few changes have been made to the way that we do things. But yeah, you'll find even this game. So if you're not able to watch the whole of this game, you'll be able to kind of pick up where you left off with down the line on that. So are we in for a long one today? It's a good question, Light Breeze. Welcome in, firstly. I don't think we're in for a marathon game. Yeah, and that's correct. Enkling's right. The meta is rush, basically. Get to purple if you can, but if not, get to mill. There are ways around that. I think I've got a good solution to that, but we'll test that into some. We'll test that into some public games first before we take it to the captain stage. Remember, guys, if I'm going to enter a tournament and win, I need to make sure that my understanding of the game is correct. I think I can pretty much brute force wins in the group stage. If I was to captain at the beginning of a tournament, I think I can get a really high win rate. It's the end of the tournament that I want to win. If I want to become the grand champion of all champions, which I am anyway. Let's be honest, I kind of already am. And remember, guys, if you're as legendary as me, be very, very humble. But I'm kind of the undisputed heavyweight champion of everything in this game, as well as being the champion of being humble. You have to kind of, if you're going to take it deep and run deep into a tournament, you need counterplay, because people will look at what I do, learn from it, and then adapt. Especially the good players like Carl, Jimmy50. The moment they see my play style, and it's been a while since they've seen me play, they're going to have to come up with some ideas how to stop it. And so I've got a little bit of a window of opportunity now where I can change the language that I speak. I can change the movement that I make in a way which is unpredictable for people to read. And again, guys, this is a competitive game mode. People do win. We've done money tournaments before. People have won Bitcoin. People have won thousands of euros. So effectively, I don't want to be readable. I don't want to be predictable. I need to evolve. So give me some time. That's all I'm saying is I got there before. We've been there already once. For any of you really old school watchers of the stream, you were there. I streamed myself captaining games and it was just a free win every time. RIP to that guy, holy. Heptadecagon, no love from the bugs at all. They just rip him to shreds. So basically, the god of the game. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, Bino. But you're well within your rights to mention, to maybe even float it out there. And for anybody listening that thinks I'm being serious, I am, but it's also a joke. You should never take yourself that seriously. I am seriously good at the game, and I seriously win a lot, but I'm not an egotistical maniac. Like, we poke fun at it because there have been times where where I've streamed before and I've said I'm going to win, and we've lost. It wasn't my fault, but we lost, and so you've got to be able to kind of laugh at yourself, I think. Yes, video games are fun. Yes, we want to win. I just think let's try and take the toxic element, the ego element out of it. I remember when I first came to the server, I'm not going to mention their name because they don't play anymore, but there was one particular player that was in the server that was like, do you know who I am? I'm the player and I do this, and how dare you touch my stuff? And it's just like, why? Like, why are you doing that? Do you not realize that you're gonna push more people away, by being aggressive and being really exclusive, and you can't do this, you can't touch that, what are you doing over there? That's not right. As long as it works, I don't mind what you do on my team. If you want to build power like this instead of this, do it. Like, I have no problem with letting you do what you need to do. I think the moment we start restricting people and we start telling people how they should play, you're just stripping the fun away, aren't you? Right? You're just rinsing fun out of the equation entirely. And we want to make it as fun as possible. On Linux, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you say something so controversial and yet so true? So I've also played I've played video games at a very high level, other games, not just this. I've been involved in the toxic element where you have to play in a team and you have to deal with egos. And again, very highly competitive games, where you're playing against the best 100 players in Europe, the best 100 players in the world. I just don't want to go there anymore. I don't want to take it there anymore. I like to enjoy myself when it comes to video games. So I know that some people are still very much competitive animals and everything is about winning. And I get that. I was there once for quite a long time, actually. But I'm now I'm in the position now where I'd rather just have some fun. I'd rather just have a bit of a laugh, and not at the expense of anybody else. I don't want to make anybody else the joke, but yeah, and you'll see that in the stream, hopefully. Clyde, firstly, welcoming Clyde Frog. It's good to have you with us. If I see a red belt, I'm going to explode. In-game, obviously, I'm going to detonate the red belt with a friendly grenade or two. There are still one or two things, so I'm not going to get upset. I'm going to be very disappointed. I'm not angry. I'm just very upset. I'm just very disappointed. Ness Main, thank you for the follow, mate. I appreciate it. There are obviously some do's and don'ts within the server, though. So you guys will know this. Don't put repair packs in bots. Don't red belt stuff. There are little things that you will annoy me, but I'm not going to get upset. I think the thing that would upset me the most is if I saw somebody else on my team. Actually, do you know what? The one thing that I do not have any time for, and I've gotten a bit aggressive in the past about this, and I got told off. The reason I'm not an admin anymore, guys, is I kind of went off on somebody. If I see anybody bullying somebody else, you're getting it from me. We are better than that. If you think that it's okay to demean or to diminish somebody purely just so that you can feel good about yourself, we have a problem, and I will make a problem out of you. There's no need to be like that. This is a video game at the end of the day. It's not life or death. It's not war. Just because somebody is a bit younger, or they have a squeaky voice, or they're from Scotland, or anything else that you could potentially take the piss out of somebody else for, just don't do it. Or don't let me catch you doing it, because we're better than that. This isn't a Call of Duty lobby. And the community, generally speaking, is very wholesome. That we don't have a lot of ego arsehole type players, but I'm not going to entertain for a second the idea that we allow somebody in the server to just be a dick. It's really simple. Just even if you don't like somebody, at the bare minimum, you don't have to engage with them. You can just, be on their team and just do your thing. Oh, damn. Again, thank you for the follow, Ness. Sorry, I was going on a bit of a tangent there, a little bit of a rant, but I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from on that front. It's more fun when you feel like you're being included in something. It sucks when there's this exclusive club that you're not a part of, and none of the pro guys, none of the really good players will tell you what to do or help you, and I just don't want to be part of that. So I kicked off at somebody. There was one particular individual who doesn't play anymore, who was kind of bullying some of the younger people in the server, and quite stupidly aggressively as well. There's no one's going to fight you, mate. This is a video game. You know, like threatening to, oh, I'd beat you up if I saw you. Yeah, well done, mate. Yeah, big man over here. So yeah, I just try and stamp it out as much as possible, because it just makes it uncomfortable, right? Nobody wants that. Nobody asked for it, you know. And if you're having a bad day, talk to somebody. Don't take it out on somebody else. You know, it's not their fault that something's going wrong with you. It's your responsibility as a grown-up, as an adult, if you are an adult, to find a way through, right? Finding a way to solve that problem in a healthy way. And I guess it goes back to what I was talking about a little bit earlier on, guys. And I don't mean to preach here, but I will say this. Don't suffer in silence. If you've got a problem in the game, ask somebody for help. What can I do? How can I help? I'm stuck in life, in school, at your job. Like, don't be a stranger, man. It doesn't look weak if you ask for help. In fact, I'd rather somebody come up to me and say, hey, mate, I know you explained this thing to me, but I just need you to run me by it one more time, right? There's one or two things I didn't get. 100% I'll help you on that. Like, you've got to be a real arsehole to say, no, I told you once. You just do it. So yeah, don't suffer in silence, ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness. And anybody that tells you it is clearly insecure, you know, clear as day, you know. It doesn't make you a man if you ask for help, apparently. Big boys don't cry. Well, I disagree. Exactly. And I just... There are some video games where your individual skill, 100%, can shine. Oh yeah, dude, yeah. The South are flying, but I will get... So I do this often. We have a longer game ahead of us, so I'll meander and yap a little bit, but we will talk about what's happening in game 2, guys. And I do believe we are on for a rush. Inkling is correct. Yeah, there are some games where individual skill is clear as day, and some of them you can, you know, your style in that game can shine through, sometimes in FPS games, in fighting games, definitely. But, like, I don't know. This isn't a World Cup game, you know. There's nobody from Red Bull or, you know, from some massive organization, Liquid or Cloud9. Nobody's watching these games going, oh my god, Flip Flopper, this is the guy we need, you know. Oh my god, Quay BB, this is our person, right? This is all for fun. It's all run by volunteers. It's all done for fun. And so I'd like to keep the spirit, that fun spirit in mind whilst we do it. And so far, guys, we have, I think. So I'll stop there. I'll finish off on that point. Let's take a quick look, a counterclockwise look around the map. We'll start on north over at oh my god, what a name. Catman. Meow Fables. I believe we're going to see some kind of defensive outpost here, right? We have 2 players, I believe, so it's Sherble and Meow Fails. We might see lasers being built out here. Potentially, we might see some science. Moving around the clock, Ness is getting oil and blowing up some slugs, some worms. So increasing the oil production for this particular base here, which is huge, by the way. Continuing around, Marich, I swear. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but if this is an Eastern European name, is it like a CH? So it says Marich, but it's actually said or pronounced. If it is, and I don't think, maybe it might not be, that would be a Marich or a Maric. I don't know, but their Maric is over here doing the Lord's work, threat farming down. We have an outpost over here that's probably going to be a defensive outpost, building capsules and all that jazz. Not huge amount green killer just yet, but things are building up big. You know, things are scaling up very nicely at the moment. So I believe we're looking at an acceleration towards the end of the game. Not that we're near the end game, but the way I look at the game is that the moment we see blue and military signs hit the labs, that is our transition to the mid-game. So the moment we see blue signs in the labs here for north, or, you know, this coloured signs, that's endgame. We see this, that's GG endgame, right? And how nice, can I just point this out real quick, guys? How nice is this build? Let me just, can I turn, no, that's the wrong one. Let me just turn myself off. Let me just turn off chat real quick. In this one screen alone, and let me turn on my drawing tools. I just want to kind of point something out real quick, because there's some beauty to this. We have our opening signs. Oh no, I don't want circles. Circles isn't the right way. We have level 1 and 2, level 3, and level 5. And again, military science is somewhere below here, or it might even be hand-fed. But we have 4 tiers of science in a tiny, tiny box. And obviously a huge amount of labs researching. All of this is in one screen, so it could not be more compact. It could not be more dense. And I believe that this space here, that is going to be where they stick purple. So you have almost every single level of science in a very, I mean, it couldn't be tighter. We could not make our build more compressed and more compact. And what that means is, as I zoom out real quick, I'll just undo all of that and turn everything back on again. So let's get rid of my drawing tools. Let's turn me back on, turn chat back on. What that means is, in that tiny little box, we can just defend this area, rather than having a sprawling, spread out area. And this isn't wrong, by the way. There's nothing wrong with this, but there's lots of gaps here, stuff we could close up. There'll be a reason for that, obviously. However, I just think that, yeah, there's more room to run here if you have to defend. And there's something very aesthetic about how compact this base is. You know, it is all here. Everything. In fact, you know, I missed this. Here we go. Just because it was on the bottom screen. Down here is military science. So if you just add in one more box underneath, every single buildable science outside of space, because I think purple is going to go here, and that's just some beautiful efficiency. Absolutely beautiful efficiency. And you've got to call him out for it, right? You know, Joshua, well done. I know it's Carl is running the build. I think this is Carl's build, but that is a thing of beauty. And it's 45 minutes. We have managed to build almost every single, sorry, this isn't turned on yet, but we are mapping out every single science tier in the first 45 minutes of a game. That's kind of mental, isn't it? That's nuts. So I'll continue around on my counterclockwise look around the map. In the main base on north, yes, they're plugging all of their ores in. We've still got a couple of smelter cities of people pulling plates out. Burner city, sorry. Smelting lines are pushing into labs. Labs now have the first 4 tiers of science. So we're in the mid game here in terms of research for the north. Let's check in real quick as to what they are researching. Military 3, which will give them their capsules. Modules. Advanced oil and lasers. Interesting. Okay, I like where North are going with this. Meanwhile, on the south, they have lots of exclusive research. They're actually kind of ahead. They've got robots. Interesting. We already have, obviously, lube. Oh, gun turrets. Nice. Flammables and electric engines. So this is what the south have exclusive to the north. The north have yet to even touch this research. And the south have had it for a while now. And they're moving towards blue chips, which are very endgame, and LDS, which are absolutely endgame. So yeah, that's interesting. The south are quite far ahead. And we did mention this at the beginning of the game. The north seemed, or appeared to be, quite stacked. Now, it doesn't matter having the best players on the team if they don't play the best. I'd love to see a train saw. In fact, Clyde, have you seen, I don't want to spoil it, but have you seen any mention? Now, floating around the ether, you know, just meandering around the meta is an idea, a concept of a unit, a specialized unit of individuals that are branding themselves the locos. And they may or may not have train ambitions for competitive games. They may have a locomotion. They may put the commotion. Oh my god, that's so good. They'll put the commotion in locomotion. Does that work? No, that doesn't work, does it? Wait, hang on. Sorry, I'm mixing my words up. Commotion's right. A state of confused and noisy disturbance. Oh my god, that's not the right word, but it works. We're going to put the commotion in locomotion. Yeah, I'm starting up a new squad, and where the Cracker Stackers failed, the locos will succeed. And I believe I can make a train meta exist. I think I can make it happen. I'm not just saying that for, you know, bait. I genuinely do believe there is a missed trick here, and I'll show you why. I'm not going to tell you why. I'm just going to point to the item that I think that we could get the most out of for very little investment. And without saying too much, the locos were breathed into existence, wished into existence last week. Yes, yeah. So you're abreast of the current musings of the team. Now, it's yet to be ratified. It's not yet been fully into existence. However, I have designed a patch. I think I posted it on Discord. If you want to see the patch I made, message me on Discord and I'll send it to you. But I have an arms, like a coat of arms, that the Loco squad members will be wearing. And I think it's pretty cool, man. I'm not going to lie. Like, yes, it's slightly AI art, but I've also done a little bit of drawing around it too. So the train is AI, and then everything around it is my design. And if I can make them in real life, I will absolutely make them in real life. So yeah. Sorry, I'm rambling again. God, piece of cake games, guys. Don't worry, there will be some action. It will happen. Have you thought about red chips we need for centrifuges? I mean, yeah, we will. Although I do believe they... Ooh. What are we missing here? What are we slow on? Okay, so we're just slowing down a little bit on red production. It's not power, is it, that's slow here? But you're right, Blitzy. The amount of red chips is going to be enormous. And potentially, maybe, we end up with a chip builder? Like, this seems to me like like Caliphate has... Ooh. This is it, isn't it? Caliphate's been tasked to make a chip builder. Is this Chip City? What do we think, guys? This looks like... Oh, it is. It is, isn't it? How good. It's been a while. So, for any of the uninitiated or slightly vacant from the scene, this is very old meta. But it is a meta which I fully enjoy. Chip City. This is sushi smelting of a mix patch, and we spoke about this yesterday. Those who can master the mix belt smelting in terms of optimizing will absolutely gain an advantage for their team. Turning those mixed items into chips, of which you will need thousands, if not tens of thousands for the end of the game. And where are these chips going? All the way back to main base. So if you can then twin that with somebody producing red chips, which could happen out here, potentially could happen out here, then you're onto a win. So what we used to have is there'd be one satellite base for power, there'd be one satellite base for research, and then, yeah, the green flood, honestly, dude, it's a thing. This used to be very common. And even if you don't belt it, you could just take somebody, fill their pockets up. I mean, I think he's doing it now. Clutch is literally doing what I'm speaking about. If you fill your pockets up with green chips and you just run back to main and you just dump thousands of green chips, that's one way to really help your team. In fact, if anything, that used to be the old threat farming meta, is that one person would threat farm, another person would build up the threat farming base, and any leftover, here we go, any leftover items are boxed up and taken over to main. So if you end up with, here we go, like 2,000 green chips, you grab them, you take them over to this belt, you know, put a little box and an inserter down, and then you just flood the belt. And it's a way of making the most of all the things you have. I think he's doing LDS. I'd love it to be chips, but it's probably LDS. And it might even just be a yellow rush. This could be just a yellow rush build. I'd love to see some space signs today, though. That would be cool. But yeah. So in short, oh yeah, we never got to this base as well, but we will. In short, an outpost over here doing something. I believe it's lasers, but I might be wrong. Could be something else, but I think this is a laser outpost for sure. We have a supplementary base over here. Again, another chip feeder. So north and south with very similar ideas, by the way. As we see a flood of green from south to north, on the south. On the north to south, from the north going south, we have a secondary line of green chips. Very similar ideas, just executed slightly differently. How cool is that? And again, the build is yet to be put down here for the north. Meanwhile, the south are ready to flood this area. Here we go. That's really nice to see, dude. This is really aesthetic. You know, in games like this, where speed is key, to be able to make stuff that is aesthetic and refined and you know, optimized, I'd love to see it, dude. This is peak biter battles, by the way. Because the faster this is fed, the faster it turns on, and the faster it works, the faster you win. And we like winning fast, don't we? So yeah. We even have some prod mods in the labs. Perfect. With a ton of labs as well. All of them firing. Let's go north. We are missing out on some blue, I think. So north's research is very, very slowed down here. Let's take a look at what they're moving towards. They are moving towards purple. And if they get it, they'll get there first. That's interesting. Although the south already have their laser research down, and laser research is really key. Once you have the towers, you then need to go into their shooting speed and their damage. You know, the idea here is that down the line, either side will throw massive amounts of signs, meaning the need for you to defend will be imperative. And you don't just have your defenses down once that big send happens. You need all of your static defenses down early. So I'd be very interested to see where the defensive lines are drawn here, because again, we spoke about the tininess of this base, the compact nature of this base. You could very easily draw a box around it with walls and defend a very compact box. In North, however, it's not massive, but you've got some smelting lines that kind of get in the way a little bit, and you know, if you are to build a larger defensive box, in fact, let's do that now. We don't talk about this that often, so let's do that right now, just to show the difference, just to show the discrepancy here. I'll put North in blue. I apologize for any of you out there who are colorblind. I'll try and change the colors up if I can. Let's go yellow if I can. So if the North's defensive box, if they want to encompass everything in their build, is this. On the South, let's go red. The South can potentially get away with a box this size. So there is a lot of difference there. There is a lot of difference. In fact, if anything, they're not having to defend kind of this dead space here. So there's more room to run, effectively. The point I'm trying to make is if you're defending on North, if you want to kind of have a box, which is the best defensive structure to have, you're going to need to create the wider edges further out. Whereas in main, if you're on South, you just have to, that's the longest running you have to do. And that's from one edge to the other. But most defensive efforts will be like here to here to here. So I kind of like this. I really like this from the South. I like the fact they've kept things compact, kept it small, and kept it manageable. You know, you don't want to have a problem that you can't manage. And so far, from the North, I think that they've just spread themselves out. Now, it doesn't really matter, because if the North end up winning the game, they're not going to be under tons of pressure. But they are behind in research a little bit, not by tons, but a little bit behind in their tech. And it seems to me the first yellow jug may be being produced. Let's take a look at our chart real quick, and let's tell a story here. You're right, yeah. Yellow is where it becomes like copper is just such a dominant factor, and you need so much. I think it's like 3 times the amount. So both teams were pretty much on par with each other for level 1 for red signs. Level 2 on green signs, the North had a slight 3-minute advantage, but they've built 3,000, consumed 2. The South have built 3.8 and consumed 3.3. The North were miles ahead. 27 minutes into the game, they built their first military jug. Meanwhile, the South, 43 minutes in, that can't be correct. That's mental. 43 minutes, and not long ago their first military jug was made, but they made their first blue at 33, the North at 42, and I believe once this stuff switches on and starts pumping out yellow signs, the South are ahead by a couple of minutes. I don't want to push too far, I don't want to kind of over-exaggerate here, but I want to say like a good 4, maybe 5 minutes worth of research in terms of their timing. I mean, the North will queue up a few bits and pieces, but as we see, like, they don't have LDS or blue chips, meanwhile the South already do. You know, and we did see the North's labs were a little choppy. And what I mean by that is that not all of them are working, not all of them are on and firing. And, oh, this genuine. I'm not just saying that to be hyperbolic. Stuff like this, where 4 of your labs, a percentage of your labs are not turned on, and it's because there's a bit of belt contamination here. So you need green jugs in these labs, but these green jugs are here and not being able to be fed. And how like that and honestly slows you down. So I'm not here to point fun and to poke at the build, because it's easy to be a spectator and say, oh, I would have done this, or this is going wrong, or whatever. But if you look at efficiencies, this is inefficient. Oh, here we go. What we pinging now? We don't get 4-4 in 15 minutes. We dead, I think. Jimmy's thinking it's over already. Interesting. Have we had the first of the yellow jugs come through? Not in labs yet. Ah, we're boxing. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, dude, it's a throw. Okay, I thought they were going to go for a rocket. I mean, they're well placed to. We could see our first rocket within the next 25-30 minutes if they want to go that way, but I don't think they do. And maybe is there an outpost going for purple? Is anybody like... No, lasers. Okay, that's kind of, yeah, part of the course. Lasers make sense. Oh, what a great... We love it. Love to see it. What can I do? And if that's the same paper... And again, I don't want to butcher your name, but if that's the same Papier that we had earlier on, our Polish friend, what a great player. New to the server, what can I do? How can I help? Yeah, Mate, you love to see it. So yeah, yellow is on the cards. And they're just going to go here and throw. So let's just quickly... No, I don't think we've seen any throws yet, dude. Let me double check on that just to make sure. Blank throw sheet. This is a rumble. We're rumbling on to endgame, and it's going to be a slugfest. So let's just... Here we go. The first yellow jugs have arrived. At the 59-minute mark, so sub 1 hour. No walls as well, dude. Let's just put 100 jugs on the north. Let's just say a quick 100 yellow to the north. What would that change the state of the game? Damn, dude. 30% increase. Just 100 jugs. That's not a lot, and it won't take a lot to build that many. Now, obviously, add another 0 and it gets worse, but, you know, if you can crank out 100 jugs every couple of minutes, you are going to start pressuring the north heavily. And again, I mean, they've got some good threat farmers, and they are threat farming well. We're at minus 12,000 on the north and minus 10 on the south, but yeah, a quick yellow send, 50, 100, 200 jugs, just nullifies that, nixes it completely. And all of a sudden, the north are flapping. I mean, do they have anybody building walls at all? No, do they have any... I think they have laser production over here. So we do have lasers being built, and that's a great stat to look at. Let me quickly just tap into that. So our first laser was built at 58 minutes in on the north, and they've made 50 of them. So 50 lasers on north. Meanwhile, the south have yet to produce theirs, but they're not under threat yet. Now, we have seen many games flip around this weekend and throughout this tournament, so just because the south have gotten yellow first doesn't mean they've necessarily won the game. But how the north try and defend this, I don't know, dude. Like, I'm slightly worried about the north in terms of like where they're going to put their defensive effort, because you're going to need to start pulling people away. Like, surely this outpost now, which I believe, yeah, these are the guys actually making lasers. You need to grab these and like run them back home, surely. You know, if I'm north and I'm scouting, so I've got some fish in my hand and I'm clicking the scout button, and I see even the edge of this build, I don't even see the whole thing, I just see the edge of it, and I click on one of these buildings and it says it's built like 4 or 5 yellow. Ooh, I don't know, dude. I'm scared right now, you know, I'm flapping a bit. And you need those lasers. Now, again, will their power grid, like, I mean, they should survive. Their power grid should survive, you know, if they do get hit hard. Yeah, do you know, that's a great question, and I had a bit of an explanation for this last week. If you throw lots of small sends, you're effectively allowing your opponent to sit in a bathtub that's slowly getting warm, and so that the pressure becomes normal to them. So if you send 20 signs and then the next minute you send another 20, they slowly get used to the pressure slowly ramping up. Whereas if you send one big punch, one big send, so let's say 1,000 rather than 10 lots of 100, you instantly heat the water up so hot that they can't survive. So for Zero Sun right now, threat farming is manageable. It's actually kind of easy. This is quite simple at 9% bugs. If they go to 19 and then 29 and then 39 and 49, his life doesn't really change at all. The plan is still the same because the bugs don't jump up too high. However, if it goes from 9 to 90, and let's say it takes 20 minutes to happen, so he gets 20 more minutes of this, and then we go to 90%, the bugs will, like, they outrun you, they're stronger, they can hit your car, one-tap you and kill you. So you kind of want to pick your moment. Like, sending is a science in its own right, and so you want to make sure that you don't just randomly, arbitrarily send. You need to kind of pick the right moment that's perfectly terrible for the opposition. So, you know, any send right now to the north breaks them a little bit, and it will force their threat farmers to think again. Interesting. I saw recently they nerfed points from killing bugs and not part of the attack group. Yeah, I kind of agree with it. I do. I think that threat farmers have a little bit too much of an impact early game, because all of the tools available to you kind of are... The time to kill is too fast, which is understandable at 9% strength. But yeah, I think the time to kill is too quick. So I'm glad that if a bug is not seen to be part of an attacking group, it's weighted like less. That does make sense, and I'm for that. What I'd hope though is they've tweaked it so that if you intercept an attacking group, that the number is just slightly buffed. Yeah. No, I agree. Only a third of it is working. I'll give it time, honestly. Let things fill up. You know, I'm quite sure. Ooh, straightener with a 2 red jug punch. And let's just see where that 2 red jug punch landed us. Pretty much nowhere. So, the first send of the game, guys. 2 red jugs. The equivalent of 0.00 void signs. Yeah, aggression has been met. So yeah, what we're waiting for now is that we have managed to get to an end game position, an end game situation. If we're on a chessboard right now, it's not checkmate, but we're starting to knock off pieces that the North want to keep. Meanwhile, the North at the moment, I just feel a slightly... What are we missing here? Are they going for purple? I feel like they're just 10 minutes behind. You know, and not 10 minutes because they're slow, but just generally these guys have been so quick that it just, I just feel like there's something has just not clicked here for the North. Blue is in, and they're researching well. Every lab is being researched, and they have managed to fix that contaminated built end, which was slowing them down a tiny amount. Their research, I believe, was going to be laser. Yeah, here we go, laser upgrades, and they're moving into LDS now. It will take them some time to get here. But where is their counterplay? Where is their big aggressive weapon? What are they aiming at the South? I don't see it. At the moment, I don't see where the North threat is going to come from. Are they just going to absorb pressure and hope they can get to a rocket? You know, what do we want out of the North here? The positives of this, they have managed to keep pace with the South to a point, but their research has slowed them down. So they are, if it was a race, they're more than one step behind, but they're still within touching distance of the lead. They're kind of in the driving seat, but they're not running as fast as the South. The South are firmly in the driving seat. I'm slightly worried they don't have a lot of laser production close to main, but they do have people close enough that can run lasers over if they're needed. So if a big send was to start to happen now to the South, I believe that, 160 lasers in that box, perfect. So we're happy here, you know, and that is close enough to main that we could put a laser wall down and just help push the bugs away whilst we organise our defence. Our threat farmers are going well. We have capsule production up the yin-yang, which is great to see. Everything's going smoothly. The South are just, I wouldn't say cruising, it takes a lot of effort and skill to get to this point, so I don't want to make light of it and be like, oh yeah, they have it easy. They don't have it easy. They've made life very difficult for themselves, putting themselves under massive amounts of pressure, but what they're doing now is they're benefiting from, they're rewarded by their hard effort and their hard work in the form of these late game items. And pumping out some much needed LDS. The yellow build is being funded by satellite outposts. You love to see it. My question is, what do we think the first yellow send is going to be? Are they going to go to 1,000? Are they going to think a couple of thousand? They've built 984, so we're almost at the 1k yellow send. But 1k might not be a death blow for the North. And as I say that now, what music do we want to transition into, guys? We've had it on chill for a little bit. So where do we want to? What music do we want to listen to, guys? What should I change out to? Let's go. Oh, let's go for some. Here we go. Let's go for some like bossa nova. Sorry, if there isn't any, I won't. Yeah, it's gonna be a spicy game, boys. El Factorio Caliente. It's gonna be a spicy ending. Oh, definitely for when the behemoths arrive, I've got a really good playlist which is like epic battle music. So it's kind of like Lord of the Rings cinematic, you know, orcs fighting at everywhere, orcs fighting music. So we'll get that on. But we'll spice it up for now. We'll put a bit of tempo into the music, and then down the line we'll swap out the battle music. Do you remember there was one game, guys, we put on pirate metal at the end of the game? How good was that? And pirate metal was perfect. It just worked so well. Actually, the Bossa Nova's not right. What am I doing? No. Bossa Nova's not correct. There we go. Samba music. Yeah, let's get a bit of percussion into the game. Okay, purple's on. Asian Dub Foundation. I can look. I can absolutely look, Clyde Frog. Leave that with me, and in a minute or two, I'll add that to my search. I can't guarantee it will pop up, but I'll definitely have a look for it for sure. So yeah, we're on for a spicy mid game, or even mid to end game, really. It just looks like, yeah, the South are primed, prepped, and ready for lasers to go down if they need to defend. They're going to get purple up and running because why not? At this point, they're not seeing anything threatening coming out of the north. And yes, they have the yellow to throw, and they can throw if they want to. They can also continue moving towards a rocket. Interesting. So they have enough to go to 75. Labs are slightly blue inflicted, like they do need a little bit more blue to come through. But again, like there's nothing to sniff at here. There's a lot of labs, churning through. So what do we... I know, that's the question here, isn't it? What is the magic number? What number breaks... Oh no, Clyde, sorry about that, mate. Firstly, I don't mean to play the ads. Sometimes they're like, they don't take you out of the video, and sometimes they do. And I don't want the ones that take you out of the video. I'd rather the ones that just pop up on the side. So yeah, Clyde, I'll take a look at the Asian Dub Foundation. I can't say I can guarantee there'll be a playlist, but I'll see if I can find something like that. So yeah, slightly hamstrung on blue signs here for the South. Cojito 85. Alright, so Jimmy's saying they will end up at 85% if a send occurs. No, dude, I'm more than happy to. Like, I remember there was I think you might have been there. We looked at metal. And we ended up at the end of the game listening to like pirate metal, and it was perfect. It was just like battle music, it was absolute like banging electric guitar and drums and horns going off. And for an end game, whilst one team was like getting besieged by these enormous bugs and having their walls broken down, it was so thematic. It was perfect. So yeah, I've got a few playlists that I'm going to kind of lean on, and I need to find more varied types of music too. So yeah, I kind of lean on jazz a little bit for chill and like funk and stuff, but I want to branch out a bit more and add a few more things in. We had electro swing last week, which was really nice, and some soul music. I love a bit of soul music. I don't know why, it just works. Oh, country music yesterday was good too. But anything, honestly. What was it? We listened to clown music at one point. I swear. We were just like, let's make the most cursed music genre possible. I'll put it into the algorithm and see what comes out. And we had like experimental space music, clown music. Oh god, it was so good. That was a great stream. So, yeah, the North are... Well, I mean, they've got defense in mind. A wall or a blueprint of a wall has gone down. But where they go from here, like, it's just an idea right now. Some wall somewhere is going down. But is this a little bit too late? They've only just started making the production for walls. And this worries me a little bit because unless you have this stuff making and having been made for like the last hour, you're not going to have enough walls really to kind of slap down enough defense to save you. So this is a good idea for now. But I'm just worried that if the throw does come, and it might be that we're pretty close to the throw coming for the from the south. Here we go. Sherbill, be careful. 90% incoming. They're aware. Space and clown music. I will play some at the end of the game. I saved the playlist because it was one I wanted to revisit, but I have like a library of like about a couple of 100,000 songs, and they all have like tags on them. So each song has like a funk tag if it's funky, electric if it's electric. And there is a playlist, and I kid you not, with like clown music. And there is space music. So when the game is over, before I end the stream, I'll play an example of space music and clown music. I'm going to be honest, it didn't really fit. It didn't really fit. But it was nice to listen to, 2 or 3 songs worth. The one that surprised me, genuine, was that we had some Christian rock music. And it was quite good. I'm going to be honest, I don't judge. It was quite good. South is cooking up something right now. What does South cook? Well, I think a big send, surely. but I love what I'm seeing from them. You know, each satellite base is feeding and bleeding a resource back into the main mothership. You know, we have a little outpost out here. Huge power, by the way. Massive power over here by Massive Blue. Oh, this I did not see. A base from Muddlebox. Whittle. We've got the defensive outpost over here. A laser outpost over here. And then just our main base. So yeah, the South have just cooked really hard on this. And they've got to have made more than 1,500 yellow jugs, right? We're looking at... that's a lot, dude. 2.3k. So that's over 1,000 white signs they're holding in their hands. I wonder though, why we're building purple. I wonder what this is for. Is this just because we can? Because we are missing a couple of components. Oh, well, we're missing an inserter for sure. But yeah, I wonder. I wonder why we're going purple as well. Because surely you just funnel everything into yellow. And you could even prod 3 these buildings if you wanted to. Oh, sorry, assembly 3 these. So yeah, surely we're on for an attack very soon. I can't imagine it's much longer than now. They're holding around about almost 3k signs. Oh, 2.4, 2.5k. Maybe the prime number's 3. I don't know. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say no to purple at all. That is a very large power block. Holy. Do the North have anything? I'm struggling, dude. If any of you guys are out there on the map, yeah, I mean, rocket would be good to go. And I'm going to be honest, the South could get a rocket up pretty easy compared to what I'm seeing on the North. And there's the send. There is the send. We're at 95% on the North. Their negative threat is wiped out. Let's just quickly go to our production stats. 2,400 send. And the bugs jump from these tiny little brown shell guys all the way up to the big. So they go brown, into mediums, into bigs. And we will see oh damn, look at that. Perfect timing. Now, do I put the battle music on now? It's got to be battle music time, right? Oh, they're already here. Damn. All right, let me quickly change this battle music. Oh no, I don't want to miss anything. Okay. This is my specific, you know, like the enemies at the gate kind of music playlist. So I think it builds in momentum. So as the game goes on, as the defense continues, the music becomes more and more epic. So let me know if you can't hear it. I can turn it up. That is a frightening amount of bugs. Very, very close to, a base you cannot lose. Oh, and do you know what? The lasers are strong. They're strong enough. Oh, yeah, I'm true, yeah. Clyde, you're right. I believe Morgan just ran out of motivation. And it happens, man. It happens. Unfortunately, like, as working on your own on a project like that, you do just kind of slowly... It ebbs and flows. So you never know. They may come back. They hold for now, but I believe they're going to get attacked all over the place. And what I also want to check in on and make sure I keep a track of, not only the proliferation of the bugs towards main base, it's how many lasers do they lose. You know, they've built 1,057 and they've already lost 5. 5's not a lot. But, I mean, this is kind of super close to stuff you don't want to lose. And behemoths in poison will eventually die, but like how much damage they do in the meantime. Dennis goes down. We're gonna lose some lives. We need to grab some people from north and drag them here. Meanwhile, as I said before, that the wall it's good to have it, but it's not all here. And pockets of lasers are dealing with the bugs, but there are parts of the map that have no pockets of lasers and have no defense. Yeah. I wonder where the discrepancy is. The south are no purple, no yellow on the north, no wall as well. So if they were assuming they were going to get hit first, I would prioritize this 20, 30, 40 minutes ago, right? You know, if we assume that we're late to purple and we're late to yellow, That has to be the case, that we turtle up and try and survive. It's not game over, but like, they now have to deal with this incessant pressure. And it's just never ending. Like, you know, your threat farmer no longer gets to be on the front line dictating the pace of the game. You're now actively defending. And not only that, is that your defenses are slowly but surely being ground down into dust. You've also got things like this that are now vulnerable. Like, we can't see into the fog of war now, but this area here could easily get smashed by a pack of behemoths that roam around the map. So there are areas that, oh my god. And again, a side swipe, a smashed up car next to a boss in poison. The North have a lot of problems to solve. Now, it's not over at this point, but it's looking like an uphill battle. To juggle and manage this level of aggression and pressure takes a skilled team. This is not now a one-man effort, or one-person effort. This is a full team that needs to be involved in defending this. It's not good enough that just one person kind of comes over here and deals with this guy. You need multiple bodies getting involved, because that's a lot of damage coming towards a lot of power. You lose this power, I think your lasers start to go down a little bit. I'm here, let the game commence. Dude, you've joined at the perfect time. A big send has just gone across the north, and at 95% they are about to lose part of their power block. And as this power block slowly but surely goes down, these lasers become less and less effective, and we are kind of losing lasers at a pretty frightening pace as well. So yeah, the waves keep coming, the damage continues to be inflicted onto the north, and beyond that too, I think they're going to start, like, the stockpile will begin to dwindle. I don't think it's dwindling yet, but they've built 1,000 lasers, and they're losing about 10 to 15 lasers per group of people coming, so the threat is decreasing, and they're juggling this well. My big question here is, do they have any level of aggression that could go towards the south? Is there anything in the works? Is there anything like an outpost, or are they cooking anything up? Or is this just, let's just absorb? I don't know what the end game here is for the north, other than crumbling. So I'll try and keep ahead of, you know, the kind of the packs of bugs coming in. I think they've done well there. Yes, they've been hit, but that's just understandable. They will lose little bits and pieces here and there. They've lost a little bit of their mining, a little bit of their smelting. You know, some bosses made it pretty deep on this wall. My question here is, yeah, here we go. What's happening out in the fog? You know, how is this power block standing up? Is it still there, you know? Does it still exist? On the south, however, yeah, they just power through. They're going for rocket boys. Here it is. They want it. They don't just want to send the yellow signs. They want the big, beautiful white jugs too. And they're going for it. And why not? You have everything available to you, and you're not really under pressure right now. Now, you could argue this could be massively greedy from the south. And actually, if the south do lose this, I don't know how they would, but if they do lose this, maybe going for too many sciences rather than funneling into one could be a problem for them. But yeah, no, you're right. Stabilization and a continuing build out. But another car goes down. The bugs are so strong, they're just one-tapping people. And Happy Factory, unfortunately, is RIP Factory for now. On the ground he lies, his car's been squashed. Hopes has been drained. And again, you can drag the bugs across this front line as much as you want. It will work. It's a difficult one, Blitzy. Mostly because, like, Fog of War is quite good to have. It's not ideal. I think it would be cool if, as an admin, I could turn it off. So I could briefly look over here, you know, just quickly peek in. But most of the time, like, players will reveal to us where they are. You know, they give us vision. So as long as players are around and about the area, then it's good enough for me. Oh, damn. Hello? That's terrifyingly close to the base. Menander has his work cut out for him. Well, as you can see, RJD, this is a boss. And that is the silo. The North have, I think they've walled up a little too late. I think they've prioritized defense a little bit too lax. It's unfortunate that now they have everything they need to defend, but it's just in boxes far away, and it's not down on the ground. You know, if it's not on the ground, it's not really in play, is it? So the North are at 101%. They're under threat from left, right, and centre. They lost a little bit their power block just now, but that's been put back down again. I worry a little bit for the outpost. However, the good news here is this is the laser outpost. So if anything, they have enough lasers to survive. And, yeah. It does, doesn't it? Can you imagine? A behemoth in the reactor room. Yeah, that's a horror film I'd watch. You know? Imagine bugs that grow through radiation that end up chewing through the reactor, then spill themselves out into the rest of humanity. Terrifying. I don't know about this playlist. Let's grab another song. They're surviving for now. At the moment, though, a lot of the bugs that are coming through are not mostly behemoths. So they're dealing with mediums and bigs, as well as the behemoth bosses coming through. So I think once the map starts to despawn the mediums and kind of spawn more like waves like this, bigs and behemoths, I think they're in for more pain. But that being said, it's not going too bad for them. Okay, so they've placed 795. They've only lost 47. That seems like a low number. Mongolian throat singing. That's actually kind of epic. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so they've made 1600 and they've only lost 47. So actually the North aren't losing as much stuff as it might seem. It's just very chaotic. Like, this is not ideal, but it's working for them. But I go back to, where is their purple? Where is their yellow? What happens next? There's no way the goal was to get to blue and then just survive the game. You know, not on POC. You don't just kind of cruise into the end game. And here we've got, you know, purple's being made, yellow's being made. Yeah, they need these pods, these little defensive pods they can like run bugs into. For now, 100%. The bugs aren't massively a problem. And again, with the front line now, they can run bugs through this kind of pain, this murder channel down here. But I'm not entirely sure. Like, let's take a look at the production stats real quick and see. What time are we into the game now? We're at 1 hour and 26 minutes in. The last time the North leveled up was at 42 minutes when they built their first blue jug. So from 42 minutes to 1 hour and 26, there's been no evolution in their science. They didn't go to purple. They didn't even go or try to go to yellow. And I don't know what I mean, maybe this is why, like, they wanted this down first. Which is understandable, but it's just kind of late. This is kind of, yeah, South have just, and again, they have all the time in the world now to just build with impunity. They don't have to worry too much. Yeah, dude, they have. They spent that time difference, that gap in timing. They've gone for a bit of purple, which, you know, if they want to, they can just chuck into their labs. You know, some of the yellow they can just chuck into their labs and do, you know, their final laser researching. I think they're going for a rocket. I think they've realized that they are so far ahead, or, you know, to put the shoe on the other foot, the North are so far behind that it gives room to a play that should never have happened. This rocket silo may get turned on. It can happen. We're not a million miles away. And here we have stuff from the satellite, right? I mean, they're doing well. I guess, like, they're managing. My question is, firstly, I'm slightly laggy. That's mostly because of the sends. That's not, you know, that's not a computer thing. But yeah, South having a fun time. It's like a holiday down there. Meanwhile, this is like a nightmare that will never end. A never waking nightmare. Again, every player on the team, very, very strong. I imagine that, you know, obviously Zero-Sun, Dennis, these guys are doing an incredibly good job, grabbing massive packs of bugs, dragging them past the lasers, letting the lasers do all the heavy lifting here. The car is just, you know, zooming past everybody. And the behemoths eventually will go down, which is great to see. But I just wonder, I don't know where... I've said it a few times, but there's more than enough talent here, and there's more than enough building talent to continue on deeper than blue signs. And my worry and my wonder is why it never got any further than this. Is it because we have a power plant in the way? Did we run out of room? Are we... Because building like our science over here just doesn't seem... It doesn't seem that well organized. Like, I'm not throwing shade at captains, by the way. I'm not pointing out, oh, you know, oh, I would have done this. But we spoke about this earlier on. We've managed to, in one screen, fit every science in the game in this screen. You know, purple's here, yellow's here, blue is here, red, green is here, and military is here. All of the science you could possibly build, outside of white, obviously, is right in this screen. And it's just a bit spread out. It's a bit freeform here. You know, we've got red, green here, blue over here. I'm assuming yellow will come up here, and then purple over here. I don't know. I don't know. I don't love the North's build. Again, it's a highly competitive game mode. Everybody has a plan. I'm sure there is an end game, late game plan that the North has, and holding out might be part of that plan. They may have assumed that they were going to get aggressed onto naturally anyway, so rather than, you know, racing with the South, they decided to just go, right, we're going to be the defensive monsters this game, and we'll be those people that will grab the lasers and do the Lord's work. But if I quickly put the file, I'm just going to quickly check something real quick. Just going to follow the main threat farmer on the North, and I just need to make a quick phone call, so back in a sec. Good afternoon, everyone. Apologies for that. I just needed to quickly make a quick phone call. Yeah, welcome, Holloway. RF Holloway. Apologies for that. Didn't mean to shorthand you. How you doing, mate? This has been a roller coaster of a game, and it's only going to roller and coaster even more as the game goes on. I'm impressed with the speed of the South. I'm worried about the disjointed nature of North's build, and I'm not entirely sure what the aim or plan or goal is for them to get into a winning position. At the moment, I feel like we are struggling. I say struggling. They have lines of lasers. They have a wall in some parts of the map. But beyond that, I'm not entirely sure what the play here is. And it's been a second since I've checked in on the research. So they're moving towards speed modules, solar energy, flammables, and rocket fuel. I guess they want to get a rocket. I mean, they're already at 100%, 101%, sorry. So, you know, the South at the moment are building with impunity. They got every level of the science faster than the North, other than blue, I think. And they got to yellow, sent, I think, 2,400 yellow jugs, which pushed the North to 95%. We're on piece of cake, so we do have the opportunity to get to rockets. My initial assumption before the game started was that we would probably get to about here, yellow, and then just see one team spam yellow over the other. Beyond that, I think that the South realized and have like clocked into or keyed into the idea that the North have not got anything that's particularly dangerous yet in their hands. Like, they're not holding the bazooka that will blow you up. They're not holding the killing blow. And so I think that they've adapted their game plan to include, they have, oh damn, I don't think they do, Clyde. I don't think they do. Some of the labs aren't working. Green seems to be a bit of an issue. Somebody's red belted main. Oh no. Oh, we've got a red belt in main, guys. Remember, if the items go faster, that means your team's winning. Green seems to be slightly missing from part of North's build, and I don't think I've seen any purple. I've seen a build. This will be yellow, I believe, but I don't think I've seen purple switch on. I'll take it back. If North wins, I will don a cap. I'll wear a hat, take it off and eat it. I'm struggling to see what I love about the North. Let's turn a negative into a positive. They have a lot of lasers. They do. They have a dedicated laser outpost. They have their upgrades coming in, so that they are upgrading their defensive ability and capability, and they have enough people working on the front line to build up a solid, credible defense. A set and forget level of defense, where even if you don't have people threat farming out here, a wave will kind of walk their way down, bump into this, and die. Perfect. What I'm worried about is that lack of progression. I think that like one person, I believe, or two people at most, are working on pushing the team forward, you know, going beyond the current level of technology and research. And I'm not entirely sure where are we driving the car? Where are we driving the team bus? You know, like the South, and again, I don't point this out to denigrate the North, but at 42 minutes they made blue and they haven't made anything since. We're at 1.5 hours into the game, 1 hour and 35 minutes in. So that's closing in on an hour of not evolving. Meanwhile, the South went from obviously red, green, mill, blue, and then about 40 minutes later into purple. But before that they hit yellow. So every single level of science eventually got tapped into, and we're still waiting on the North. So yeah, I like it though. You need this, and you normally need this within the first hour and a half of a game. So the first hour and 30 minutes, you need a wall that's at least 3 or 4 thick with something behind it. Flamers ideally, and lasers would be, you know, a dream at that time. The big question I have now is how long do you make the wall? How big do you make it? And yeah, what are these people in the middle of the base doing? What are we doing in the center of our base? In the South, as you can see, there's a little thing just loading itself up. Nothing to see here, boys. Avert thine eyes. This is not problematic at all for the North survival. I feel like I stuck battle music on a little bit too early, so let me reel back battle music a little bit. Asian dub. Let me see if I can find some Asian dub. Okay, right, so that's tagged up as Asian dub. Apologies if it's not, but we'll move around with the music too. I thought the battle music was, we had a battle for a little bit, and then they've managed to stabilise, and now the North are in the negative, so ultimately, you know, they survived the pressure, and fair play to them. You know, they are a good, well-skilled and drilled team. I think this has to be a death blow. Has to be a death blow for the North, surely. A singular rocket at the current state of the nation. So let's go and put into our calculator 1,000 white signs. Just a single rocket. It doesn't really do that much. Ah, damn. You're correct. Yeah, you are correct. I think the main base nerds maybe got a little caught out. I feel like they got to a certain point, and it was around about here, this area of the map, things just kind of went stop. 5 rockets from south to north. Let's calculate real quick. Let's go 5,000. 5 rockets would put them at a devastating 168%. I also think that if they're going to be sending their white signs, there's probably a good chance they box up some of their yellow as well. Unless they're just going to turn their yellow off. They've turned yellow off. And that makes sense, to be fair. You don't need this right now. Kind of the damage has been done. So, labs are flying, guys. Look at this. This is a picture and a half. This is what you love to see. You're going to need to research a few bits and pieces before you get yourself on the board here. So, on the south, they're going to go for their final damage upgrade on the lasers, and then we're moving towards Silo and Prod 3 and Speed 3. This is it. Once this clicks into place. And the north. That's bold. That's brave. The north are thinking rockets as well. I think if I'm on north, I mean, if and it's a big if, they can concentrate the bugs in one area, and if they can make sure that no breakaway packs break away and come down the map, the North should hang on to around about 150%, 160%. The moment we get anywhere near 200% though, they don't survive, and it will be purely just a numbers element. They won't be able to survive the number of bugs on the pitch and the waves and levels of attacks that will be brought towards them. So they survived the early game because they just ran people towards the problem. 5 people with 10 lasers each ran over here, and 100% bugs died to this. When the bugs are around about 200% and there's 300,000 of them, this area is one of probably 20 areas that need people to be in. And with a team of 20 or 19 now on North, you can't be on top of every fire. You have to prioritize what you want. And yeah, I get the feeling that there'll be too much to handle, and one thing will fall. And once one domino starts to fall, the rest of them will all topple too. So I do believe the North will, just purely through the weight of the size of the number of the packs, crumble. It's gallant, them assuming they'll be able to get a rocket sent. And yes, they do have negative threat, but we are literally now just in a holding pattern for the South to build up their defenses. The South have built 1,600 lasers. They've built 1,600 and they've placed 1,000 of them. Sorry, they've placed 590 of them. So the South have around about 600 lasers in the ground ready to go. And that would be here. Mostly here, and then probably some in and around this area. And they're not slowing down. Here we go, yeah, so we've got... Oh no, that's... Rocket fuel, got you, yeah. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's go for a bit of a thought experiment. Let's see what happens if the South get a rocket sent to them. So let's just say if North miraculously, and I don't know how this would happen, but let's say miraculously, the North managed to get a rocket and they send it to the South. Well, instantly, the South will be dealing with behemoths. They'll go to 91%, and the threat will increase by 41,000. So they definitely will they'll be taken out of a negative with one rocket. Let's say, for instance, how do we make the South's life painful? Let's say, again, it's a dream-like scenario here, but bear with me, it's hypothetical. The North builds 5 rockets and they send away. That's more like it. 146% strength and 200,000 threat. 222,000 threat. And the numbers game. That's where those waves and waves and waves of pressure begin to build. You're not just dealing with one large group of bugs coming in. There's like one here and one here and one here and one here, and just eventually the weakest part of your chain will collapse. And once they're in, 150, 200%, they're so fast. So this is fine for now. This is stable and stabilizing. Power shouldn't be an issue. It's not an issue so far. But yeah, no, you're right, Clyde. And again, that send just doesn't exist. It's a dream right now. It's a dream send. If I had 5,000 yellow, I would be able to. But at the moment, I don't. And in fact, this is what their purple is, or should be, and it is yet to turn on. So, yeah, early game, North and South were pretty much blow for blow, duking it out. Middle game, North and South, pretty much blow for blow. We're keeping pace with each other. End of the game, the South are just... It's like a different race. It's like a different game. They've just cruised into the end game. No pressure whatsoever. They're still dealing with 14% bugs. They have all the time in the world to grab as many people as they want, to make as elaborate as a defense as they want, as thick as wall as they want, with all the power poles required. I wouldn't be surprised if they go flamer towers. Once they have their rocket research, nothing really stops them from, chucking a few flamer towers down as well. Why not? Make the most out of the oil that you have. I haven't seen flamers in a couple of games now, and we saw one yesterday, but that was like a panic. I think they just slapped it down in pure panic and desperation to save the game. But it doesn't seem to be the way anymore. I feel like people kind of aim for lasers and just try and speedrun there, rather than going for like locking in a really safe bet in flame towers for defense early, and then transitioning beyond that into the stuff that we like to see, like lasers, etc. So I'm a big fan because you don't need to refill it. It doesn't require power. You literally just need oil. And the moment oil starts flowing through, you can upgrade, obviously, how dangerous and how much damage they're doing. The one thing that we might need to look at a little bit here is, yeah, we need to hand feed purple into our labs here. This will slow down the south considerably. I don't think it's a losing play, but I would certainly make sure that as many of the labs as I can are topped up with as much science as we can. So we're pulling purple at the moment into a box. That's fine. But this needs to be kind of transitioned over to labs and then spread out here. Otherwise, most of these labs just won't work. So, yeah. And as we can see here, the hero of the day, I believe their name is Blight's Eye? Belitz. Belitzy. Never heard of him before, but they've managed to make a hero play there. A couple of jugs into the lab, speeds up research phenomenally well. And again, yeah, look, we have chests building up of late game items. Rocket fuel's looking nice. Blue chips looking really nice. LDS, tons of them. The South are poised, ready to go. Now, what could you do to improve this? You could beacon this, if you wanted. You potentially could beacon this. But ultimately, I think it's more about, yeah, just getting it up and running. Like, you are under no time pressure in the South at the moment. It's a real shame. The one thing I would say about a game like this is it doesn't feel particularly competitive now that we're in this back end of the game. I may be wrong, but with only a few blue chips being made, less than 500 blue chips, the silo is yet to be carved out to be fed. I'm sure their research is miles behind as well. Okay, so the North went for uranium processing. They think they can get a nuke up? That's just... Is that not just ridiculous? Is this way too greedy? Like, you know a rocket's coming. You must know. Like, if you're on the North and you look anywhere to the South and you just follow lines of stuff coming in, there is no doubt in my mind, anybody with even like 20 games plays knows that a rocket is on its way. Like, you are not going to get a nuke reactor up in time. You're not even going to be able to build it in time. And let's just say, even if you do manage to build it and you switch it on and it heats up and it starts giving you power, there'll be at least 5 or 10 rockets being built at that point. Yeah, it's understandable. And at the same time too, like, you can't make the play that you want, you have to make the play that's given to you, I guess. But it just feels really underwhelming. And I wonder if maybe, like, and it's just a guess here, but maybe a couple of players have left, or maybe there's a disconnection in their... I know, right? Green. It is a limiting factor for them. There's so many things going wrong here. It's not the end of the world, obviously. They're managing to threat farm, they are surviving. And they're finally closing up their defensive box to here, to the west, which is what you want to see. But it's such a large defense, dude. That's huge. This front line is enormous. And yeah. It's a bit rudderless at the moment, isn't it? Yeah, it seems a little rudderless. Who's checking research in? No, I mean, it's the captain doing it. So as long as the captain is the one choosing the research, I don't mind it. If it was some random player, you question, wouldn't you? But nah, Joshua's, he kind of knows what he wants, knows how to get it. Okay, finally we're feeding purple into that. They're just dancing, aren't they? Look at that, perfect. Yeah, you're right. But the thing with Corvarax is that in its own right takes time, you know? You've got to mine the uranium, and then you've got to kind of crack it down into its shiny green rocks. It just feels like, yeah, just a little bit too late. If the game goes on for another 2, maybe 3 hours, the North absolutely can swing this back in their favour. But if it was me, I would ask us to prioritise purple, prioritise some yellow, even if I kid you not, I wouldn't even mind 2 assemblers pumping out some yellow. Right, we don't necessarily need a long line like this, but I would take 2 assemblers making some science over none. Yeah, and again, it's quite greedy. It's just a very greedy build. Do I hate it? Not really. I wouldn't do it myself. In a position like this, every small slip is a slip in time, slip in research, and it's just a slip a little closer to an L. You know, something you could easily work on right now is improving your green science output. You know, you could easily go for prod mods in here, or speed mods in here if you wanted to. I know they have them researched, and if green is a problem, which it looks like it is, then just go for it, dude. You've got like purple that's flooding in at the moment. That's not the issue. It's like tier 2 science. I don't know. Push comes to shove as well. Like where are they going to build a nuke? That's another question actually. Where do we even put a nuclear reactor? Like here? You can't really fit a nuke reactor here, probably? Maybe? There's no way you put it here. Like that's on the front line. Like if anything breaks through like your defenses, or do you park a nuke far away? You know? Do you park a nuke miles away? But I'm very much in South's corner on this front. It's greedy they went for a rocket. If they would have stayed at yellow, I mean, they could have continued pumped out yellow. It would become less effective over time, and it's quite an expensive way to play, so... Did you see bots? Ah, let's take a look, because we spoke earlier on. We don't see bots that often. On the north we have some. At the 1 hour and 37 minute mark, I believe, it must have been an outpost, right? Fly, my pretties. Here they are. And as you can see, there are no repair packs in any of these bots. So, I hate to say it, but like this outpost has developed more than main base, with only 2 players playing out here, Sherbil and Meow Fables. And they are cranking out lasers, to be fair to them. They absolutely are. Hundreds and hundreds of lasers, probably close to 1,000 lasers coming out of this bot. Absolutely not. Repair knots. Yeah, no repair bots. That is certainly GG's in my mind. Finally, we're starting to see most of the labs on north start to flood with science. Purple is coming out now in a healthy amount, and I believe they're positioning themselves to be able to build up some yellow of some description. So it's not over, but they're certainly behind. And I'm just... Is there any adaptation here? I like the fact that they're going 3 thick with the laser turrets. That's good. I like... But then the South are doing the same... The South is just making the same play, just better, right? Because they have no pressure here at all. In fact, they're sending somebody out to continue to threat farm. They don't need to do this. This game will take a while. I don't think it's going to go on forever. But, I know. Yeah, dude, this grinds my gears a little bit. The thing is, the South can do whatever they want. I mean, literally, the South can do anything they want. You know, if they want to make little laser pods, like they could build one of these out here and then just drag bugs into them. Yeah, I don't hate this. They have... To put it into context, for anybody that hasn't seen the longer form of the games, the ones that we're used to watching, the South have around about 60 minutes of doing nothing or making non-optimized plays, and that they would still be ahead of the North. It would close, the gap would close, but I believe that if the South were to down tools and just make fun little outposts, or they were to just make nuclear power for another hour, there'd be the gap would close a lot. I still think they'd be ahead though. Yeah, they'd be miles ahead. If anything, this is somewhat of a crushing victory, really. Not that the South are playing with their food, but the South have no obligation at all to run and rush this. Their research is coming in. Their rocket parts are stacking up. And remember, guys, it takes 1 minute and 30 seconds in-game to build a rocket. So when this thing turns on, we're going to see them flying out of here, almost like missiles flying out of a silo. Once that goes, I reckon they're just going to make as many as possible. Somebody's even put the carpool down. This is an amazing play to make, by the way, guys. If you have the time and you know, you have the space to do this, anybody that dies on the front line needs to get back fast. So obviously having a car down here now would allow you to hop back in, fuel it up, and just run back to the front line. And they've even managed to, whoever's put these back here, Joshua, has managed to put some capsules down as well. So if you die and main base is under threat, you can spawn in, grab a handful of these, and defend main base if you need to. So even though the South are heavily in the lead, they're still prioritizing optimized defensive plays for that 1% chance they need it. I'd rather need it and not have it. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Well, we can do that. We can do that calculation. All right, follow away. We can. Okay, on the South now, we're at minus 30k. Minus 30k. So how much science do we think in chat wipes out 30,000? Let's go for purple science. How much purple do you think we need to send to the South? Because I'm not seeing them building yellow, and I'm not seeing them building a rocket. So feasibly right now, if they had a box of science, how much do we think they need purple-wise? 2,000 maybe? 3,000? Let's put 2,000 in as a start. Let's start here. So all we want to do is wipe this out. Okay, we want to wipe out 30,000. No, it's not enough. It only takes away 23,000 of that threat. So, by that logic, maybe 3,500. No. Even 3,500 purple jugs. It's only minus 2k, minus 3k, but it's not enough. So, by that logic then, about 4,000 roughly does delete. It does. There we go. So we need 4,000 purple jugs on the North today, right now, as the game stands in its current state. It will push them into a positive of 1,000. And you've got to think, dude, to make 4,000 purple jugs right now, and let's just go back into their production tab and see how much they've made already. They've only made 500. And they've used 300 for research. So, like, you know, the South, coincidentally, have only made 1,000, but they've used almost all of them in research. So you don't even want to really be throwing, you know, purple. If anything, you want to be building yellow and throwing it. But even then, the North need that yellow for research. They're stuck between such a rock and hard place here. There's no winning in this position. You know, it's such a rock and hard place. They want to throw this to make life uncomfortable, but they need it for their rocket. And their rocket, if they want to make it, needs to be kind of prioritized right now, which they are doing with late game parts like LDS and blue chips. Again, I mean, we're going to stay here. We're going to stay here for now. And we just want to see how fast a rocket is made. Because at the moment, currently, I think this is now fully being fed. It's not being fully beaconed. You can squeeze beacons in around the side if you want to. But even just 1 or 2 beacons is enough, you know. So I'd like to see how fast a rocket comes out of this. Because what we can do is time it when rocket number 1 comes out. And then we can put a timer on rocket number 2. And let's just make sure that research is completely done. I didn't check on South's research. So okay, yeah. Really? Okay, so what they want to load a rocket and a half. Because you can sit a rocket in your silo and preload another one. And I think that's why they're going for their... Why are we not finishing the silo off? I don't get it. Why are we... We're 28% complete. This is going into some weird directions, dude. Surely the way you win is you just get the rocket up and you send it. Like, it's nice to have nukes, but, like, there's no way this game goes on any longer, really. At this point, a nuke is, like, that's super nice to have. It's like, I have a car, but I want to drive a Ferrari. You know? Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a fair point. You want to back up labs with a lot of the harder to make signs. So yeah, I get that too. Meanwhile on North, they are expanding. Yeah, that's true. It might stutter halfway through the research phase anyway. Let's take a look at again the production stats, because oh my god, what kind of a story does that tell? At 58 minutes in, the South built their first yellow jug, At 1 hour and 50, an hour later, the North built theirs. I don't think I've ever, and again, I'm not saying this to be hyperbolic, I don't think I've ever seen a game where there's been an hour's difference between leveling up in science. That's a first for me. It's not a damning indictment, but like an hour difference is stupid levels of being behind. Like, I wonder what was happening in that 1 hour. And if we look down at our production stats, there's no massive change, right? They haven't made more blue chips. They haven't overproduced in red. They haven't really made more of anything in particular. It's just gotta be slow. They're just slower. Oh no, here it is. I found it. I found the reason. The reason North are losing is because they made 1,200 red belts. They've made 1,200. That's not enough. You need to triple that. Then that needs to be... To win a game, guys, we know for sure you need at least 5k. I'm not going to finish that sentence. The good news is they've made almost 5,000 laser turrets and they've placed 2,100. But yeah, dude, come on. Like, 1 hour 56. You versus the guy she tells you not to worry about, right? Oh my god, horrendous. And the numbers on the North are dropping as well. I don't think people believe there is a win on the cards here. You know, the numbers are dwindling. Meanwhile, on the South, they've kept 20 plus players the whole way through. People are in it to win it. And I did mention this at the start of the game. I kind of pegged the North to win this. I pegged the North to have a stronger spine, a stronger core of their team. So I'm going to ask in Discord later if I can have a quick chat with Cojito and just ask him how the game went. Because I'd like to know or try and understand where the plan mid to late game transition was going to go. That being said, we've reached the 2 hour mark and I need to get a drink. So, do you guys want to stay here with the rocket silo? I'm only going to be gone for a minute or two. I'm just going to put the kettle on. But do you want to stay with the rocket or do you want to stay with the threat farmers? Because I don't want to miss anything, but this is pretty much the same gameplay as this. So what I'll do instead of overthinking it, I'm just going to stay here for now, guys, whilst we see a rocket in silo. And I'll be back in a second. I'm just going to make a cup of tea. I feel like my voice is going, so I need to kind of protect it. If we're going to go for another 30 minutes, or even maybe another 60, I want to make sure I'm in good shape. So BRB. Okay, I am back. Sorry about that, guys. My kettle was less than efficient. So, all right, I've missed about 3 or 4 minutes, I think. So let's check in with the map. Oh, I saw that in the video, mate. When I go away, so hang on, let me step away from the VTube thing. Yeah, like yesterday, he like crashed out. It looked like my neck was broken. Now he's all like this. Yeah, I need to figure this stuff out. I'm not a natural streamer. I'm going to be honest. Like, I think you guys can tell. I just make stuff up as I go along and hope that it works. So, bear with me on that front. This stuff is all quite new, and I've had a mixed review. So I don't mind it. I kind of like it. I'd rather have a physical presence. And I think if I used a camera of me, I don't know if it'd be like worth. Like, I like to retain a little bit of anonymity online. So, I think this is a good way of bridging the gap. He's actually twerking. Yeah, I couldn't animate the twerking correctly, and obviously you need to have the right jiggle physics, don't you, for stuff? Oh my god. It's 2 hours in, and I've just used the phrase jiggle physics in Factorio. Let's lock in, guys. There's a good game in front of us. Somehow the North is still in and playing. I don't know what's going on. We'll take a look. We'll take a look. Oh damn, okay, so at the 7 minute mark past, oh, just now, literally just now, the first rocket, we got it, well, we caught a rocket, took off from the south into space, and we land with another 1,000 white signs. So the race is on now, the rocket race. I wonder how much stuff did they manage to chest. I think they probably have enough for like 4, at least 3 or 4. You know, to constantly, confidently pump out a rocket. I would like to keep my viewport here for now, because I want to time this thing. Because ultimately, I really hope we don't see like a 20 rocket game, or like, you know, where they just have stupid amounts. Like 5 will do the job, 10 will absolutely smash. Yeah, so I think the way that it works, and I might be wrong about this, is you can have one poking out of the silo, and then one kind of preloaded in. So basically, once one is made, all of those units are consumed. You then get a rocket in the silo, and then you can feed it one more time. So you can have like one in the pocket. A pocket rocket! I think I've come up with my next elite unit. The pocket rockets. And here it is. Another rocket out the pocket. Into the silo it goes. The skies is its destination, and the south are cruising into a comfortable wing condition here. Let's just zoom out. Let's see if we can catch this in all its majesty. To space. Just us, but the south. Space, the final frontier, is being bridged. And as we look at the North Silo, sadly, sat, defunct, unused. No rockets in this pocket, unfortunately. As it just watches on, as the South just launch craft after craft into space, returning back to them the signs in which they crave, the win condition, which will hopefully get them the dub. I just don't see a way out for the North. The final frontier. And yeah, 3 built. With no slowing down, really. Are we slow on any products? Is there anything here that we're worried about? So, rocket fuel is looking healthy. Yeah, a couple thousand rocket fuel. Blue chips are looking really healthy. Around about 2k blue chips. That's nice. And obviously we have some flooding in, you know, on a long line. LDS. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh, we're fine. We are fine. If we're building, yeah. Okay. Let's take a look at where the nuclear build is. Oh my god, look at the size of this base. The size of this front line is egregious. It's untenable. It's incorrigible. This is incorrigible. I mean, coincidentally, the South have an incredibly large defensive structure too, but what they've done is quite smartly, quite intelligently, is they've put pods down. I love this play. I hope it's not a 10k send, but we may be in for a 10k send. Just to put the nail in the coffin. Now, if I was to do the calculations real quick, and I was to say 10,000 to the north, Now it says that there be 1 million threat, but it needs to just say GG. A million threat, and we end up at 230%, and that genuinely is, you can't live there. You know, you can't live at that percentage for very long. Sometimes the plan is to just make as many rockets as your buffer will allow you, and considering they're coming out at the speed that they are, maybe they wait until one of their products runs dry. For instance, it should be blue chips to begin with, and once they run out of blue chips, whatever number of rockets they have, that's their send. So let's say, for instance, in the chests are 3 more to be built. They build those 3, added to the 4 they've already made, and send them across, and that is their big send. For them to say 10, again, we all like round numbers, but we are going back to the old days of just coming up with a number and going, that'll do the trick. We now have a calculator built into the UI, so we should be able to kind of figure out what we need, and this is a problem as well. Damn, that's a bad problem to have. Anybody want to kind of... Now, blue chips are the thing that will run out first. But this is an issue. That's not a good problem to have, because there's going to be more coming through, right? They're going for that big Mike Tyson, that one-punch KO power. I don't hate it, but another rocket goes up and down. 5th rocket into the sky. Now, would a red belt solve that problem? I'm not going to ask or answer that question. I would just filter rocket fuel out. Tufty, welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's an interesting game. We're in a good spot. So, haven't seen Bite Battle Match for a couple of years. Since when did it get so late game with rockets and stuff? Well, interestingly, yesterday's games didn't get here. We were on hard difficulty. But I think because we're on piece of cake difficulty, we have the room to maneuver into rockets. I was of the belief that once the south hit yellow signs, they've turned it off now, but once they hit yellow signs, I thought that was GG's for the north. But if we look up here, I mean, that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of lasers, that's a very thick wall. They're preparing themselves to defend heavily, but they also didn't... I mean, they have it now, they have yellow and purple signs now, but beforehand, about 20 minutes ago, they were really struggling with this like late game research. The big question I have is that, will the North survive a rocket send to the point at which they can then build their own and send their own? It's great having this big castle to sit within and be safe inside, but you know that there is a huge send coming your way. You don't know how much, but you know something massive is on the cards. So we know this to be true, guys. No base survives, 300% bugs, 400% bugs. If the South want to, if they don't see the North building anything that's threatening to them, they could if they wanted to. I don't know why they would. They could sit here for like an hour, 2 hours, and then just wait, just wait them out and say, okay, we'll build 50 rockets. You're not doing anything and you're not pressuring us, so we're just going to build loads. So this is a kind of newer meta. It very much reminds me of like old school zombie games where you grab like a pack of zombies and you kind of drag them through traps. This obviously being like our laser trap. It's quite an old school way of playing. I don't mind it. I don't think the time to kill is a bit slow for me. I would certainly work on a faster time to kill. But it's doing a job, and they are managing to drive the threat into a negative, so they're doing well here. Tab. What's tab? I'm pressing tab. Oh, they are... Oh, sorry, mate. I need this coffee. I thought you meant the button. I started pressing the button tab. Yeah, no, mate. Yeah, 100%. I actually own it. I own the game. Sorry, mate. You spun my head around there for a second. My bad. That's on me. Yeah, there are trains at the moment. I believe their trains are going to be delivering defensive items, and they are billions. 100%, mate. I like the look of that game. Also, somebody mentioned Darkest Dungeon yesterday. I bought it. So I'm going to play some Darkest Dungeon next week, and I'm going to try a couple of games out. So you'll see me streaming some biter battles, like casually, but you're also going to see... Are they lining up a trainsaw, maybe? Nah, no way. This could just be a way of getting back to the front lines, maybe. Maybe. But yeah, so I'm going to be playing some other games. I am currently very into Guild Wars 2. I played it twice before. I didn't really play it and enjoy it. I don't know, maybe I was just doing it wrong. I downloaded it a couple days ago and I'm loving Guild Wars 2, mate. I don't know what it is. I'm a necromancer. I summon bone demons and slugs and stuff, and they do all the fighting for me, and I just sit back, and it's fun, dude. I'm not going to lie, I really like that game. The graphics are slightly outdated, but I'm just having a blast. They are billions as well, mate. Reminds me of like old school Command and Conquer, Age of... Oh, Dennis, no. Dennis is down, boys. And now we can see the respawn train in action. Dennis is popping back into the server here in a few seconds. He gets put onto a belt straight away. He makes his way to the front of the train line. And he trains himself back up. Does he send the train back? No way. What happens when the trains go to the... Like, do you just pick it up and that's it? I don't hate it. It's a weird play. I don't hate it, but... Like, you've got to clear the train now, right? Do you put it in a box? Like, where does it go? You reverse it. That makes sense. But he's now running back. Why didn't he stop here? Anyway, I'm not judging Dennis. I just think it's a weird build to do. But whatever works, man. Whatever works for you. Yeah, so there are billions. If any of you guys have any suggestions for games, by the way, I'd be more than happy to take them on. We spoke about this earlier on, but I'm expanding. Like, there's a factory building gacha game called Enfield? Arknight Enfield or something? And a friend of mine swears by it. He says it's really good. 8 rockets, by the way, have been sent on the south. As I meander slightly conversationally away from the game. Yeah, there's like an automation gacha game that's out there that my friend is loving. I don't know if I want to play it, but it looks okay. And guys, what are we doing? Please. You've built everything you need to win the game. Everything. You've unclogged the clogged up line that you had in the past. It's just filtering. Do you have too much fuel? But yeah, here we go. And yeah, there's definitely not stream snipers watching this. Press 1 in chat, in game, if you're stream sniping. Yeah, they know better not to. There's somebody in the game right now. Yeah, there we go. There's the 2. And Blixie does strike me as a 0. Not gonna lie. So yeah, I'm... so Darkest Dungeon, they are billions. I currently own, so I'm going to download and play them. And I'm open to interpretations. Like, I genuinely, if any of you guys have got, yeah. Thing is though, there's no way, and I don't know this because I don't do this. I couldn't because I'm streaming. But like, if you watch a stream and you're playing, how much information can you get from that? Really? I'm not saying you can or can't. I never thought about it like this. But like, does it give you a competitive advantage if you can watch the stream? I don't know. I know it looks like yeah, it's these solar panel parts are the limiting factor for rocket number 9. But they're already feeding rocket number 10 behind this, so there's a rocket in the pocket and 1 in the silo to go. So we have made, or we're about to make 10, if we can put satellites in. Craftlings. Craftlings, worth it. Lemmings with automation. Let me, real quick, add that to the list. Boom. Nice. There we go. Boom. Nice. Honestly, guys, I will take a look at this stuff. I don't need something new to play, but I definitely kind of have the time to play a bit more. And at the moment, I'm trying to keep costs down. I'm saving for a wedding, so I'm going to be indoors a bit more. I don't want to be going out and eating out all the time or going to the pub. I need that money for flowers and chocolates and food and the band and all that jazz. So in that time that I have whilst I'm at home, I want to play some more games. And yeah, Guild Wars 2's genuinely shocked me a little bit. I enjoyed that game massively, so I want to see if there's other stuff out there. Stream sniping is a thing. Do you know what, dude? I genuinely did think about putting a delay on the stream of like maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes, because I think that it would be really disjointed as a player to have like a delay. Yeah, dude, I'm coming back. So part of my playing, you know, games is to save money. I also have a few builds that I need to kind of test out. So you're going to see me playing lots of casual games during the week. I'm going to be streaming them, and I'm going to be testing out some of my builds as well as the locos, my new special forces unit, the locos, putting the commotion in locomotion, as well as other kind of meta ideas too. So yeah, you're going to be seeing a lot more of me streaming. I hope that doesn't. I don't want to annoy people by streaming all the time. Obviously, it's up to you whether you tune in or not. I'll try and make it as varied as possible, but you might see me doing the same thing in different ways. I need to kind of run the numbers and do some calculations a little bit. So yeah, some of the streams, especially the Factorio of Bite Battle streams, will be me just like testing my builds, adding in some things, taking some things away. Oh, it's tragic. It's so tragic, boys. What are we doing? Lads, all of the blue chips you could ever possibly need is right here. Somebody pull that rocket fuel off the line. Oh my god. So, we need blue chips to make a rocket. Just keep stream sniping and on a thing. I would hope that you potentially could, if you win a tournament, I hope it's not off the back of watching my stream. I also wouldn't consider you, and I'm not saying this you as in you as a person listening now, but if you were a tournament winner and you had my stream up and you used it to snipe so that you win a tournament, I wouldn't consider you a tournament winner, if that makes sense. Because to win a tournament, you know, 6, 7, 8 games in a row, you shouldn't rely on anything other than your own skill and your ability to captain a game. You know, when I was, again, back in my day, when I was captaining, there was no streaming. You just had to make it up as you go along, and you had to cross your heart and hope that everything worked. This is an issue, boys. Sweep the line, holy. Like, you need to box some of this stuff up because it is maxed out already. And yeah, you know, I'd hope that it's kind of an honor thing, I think is the right way to put it. Trixana, you've said it correctly there. Speedrunning, so the same thing, tweaking different builds is kind of the vibe. Oh, cool, okay. I just wouldn't want to bore people with like, hey guys, this is my threat farming outpost and I'm going to have to build it 10 times before I know that it works, or before I know it doesn't, kind of thing. I know, dude, this rocket fuel, and again, this is one of those good problems to have, right? You know, backed up lines, but these blue chips and the solar panel parts, I'd have them on their own line. They are so vital. And beyond that too, you have more than enough LDS to last you the rest of the game here now. You have more than enough rocket fuel to last you the rest of the game. The only thing you need right now is these blue, you know, kind of bits and pieces. You know, you could sweep these boxes, you could add more in. There's loads of different ways of going about this, but ultimately, if you want to win soon, then, you know, this is the most priority-based thing you can have on your mind as a captain. So yeah, so going back to stream sniping thing, I hope people don't. For casual games, I don't think it really matters. I think how you play and how your team does matters more. Derek did a 4-hour run twice a day for a whole month. Oh damn. Do you know what, dude? I don't know if I should. I keep saying stuff. I need to make it happen. I really want to get into speedrunning. Like, I really do. I need to find the thing I want to speedrun, but I am very much built. So I haven't challenged myself in a while. I think ultimately the reason why I stream and the reason why I enjoy streaming is it is a challenge to kind of keep up with everything as the game goes on and give a bit of information out as the game goes. So it's a bit of a, it's fun for me, number one, and it's nice to have people join into. But at the same time, it's one of those things where, like, I need to find a challenge for myself. I think that's why I keep asking for new games. It's red. The uranium setup. Ooh. Wait, in-game or my uranium setup? This is the nuke on the south. Oh, I think you mean my uranium. Ah, I think you mean the locos. Squad locos. But that, if you're looking for nukes, that is a nuke on the south. It's slowly building up. If you mean my uranium build, ooh. I may need to leak a few bits and pieces, but I have got an absolute banger of a build. And this is the nuke on the north. So yeah, I need to find a challenge, and I think speedrunning something, whether that be a Factorio, you know, any percent or multiplayer percent or anything like that would be good fun. Beyond that though, I need to find a game that I can really throw myself into. And I think Biter Battles, getting better at it and relearning it is number one. And I want to find something else. And it can't be Dota. Like, if I go back into Dota, I'll lose my mind. Like, I'll probably end up getting divorced before I get married. Is that a thing? Unengaged. Disengaged. So yeah, I don't want to do that. Finally, the North have fixed their buffer issues. But yeah, I need a challenge, dude. I want to play something that really pushes me and that tests me. You know, I love Spiel a little Dota, do 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 do. Oh, what a song! Let's take a look at the research. So I'm meandering slightly topically here. It appears that Rocket Silo is done. In fact, so much stuff is done here. The South are just going full laser upgrades, all the way up to their top yellow. The North are going mining prod. Let's take a look at North actually. I'm on South now quite a bit, but you know, what's really changed, you know? They've built 2. There's no way. I refuse. I said I'd wear a hat and eat it. I will. I will put a hat on my head and consume it if the North win this game. What is this? What is going on? How many have they built? They've built 2 already. There's no way they can build lots though, right? They don't have hunt. No, they don't. At most, they can build 2 rockets, maybe 3. That is wild. They got there. And there's number 2. The second rocket for the North goes up into the sky, and we have a game on our hands. Oh, Base Hunter, where did he go? He was like really big. Like, he had an actual song as well as the Dota song, which was obviously the best of all the songs. But he kind of disappeared off the map. Yeah, and they have it in hand. And they can keep building more. So, like, what are we waiting for here? Is it 20? Is it 50? You know what I mean? Like, what's the magic number? And if we don't know what that number is, why don't we try and do something now, you know? Let me find some different music. Let's get out of this playlist right quick. And yeah, it's going to be a little laggy, guys, as the game goes on, because now, or as a send goes in, you know, the server will eventually kind of take the load of that massive send. So we need to be cognizant of the fact that things might need to be slowed down. Okay, let's pick a random playlist. This is random. Okay. The PC's okay. It may struggle a little bit. In fact, there's ways of me optimizing the struggle if we do get there into the lane game. But you guys were here when I was streaming for like 8 hours, 9-hour games, right? It was only really at the end, the last hour. Ah, no, Arctic goes down. But we need to send soon though, right? Another death. Interesting, okay. So we're having a couple of mental slips, lapses there. And to threat farm deep into a game beyond 100%, you need to like make as minimal mistakes as possible. The question I have, this is number 3 by the way. It's kind of scary. The North are managing to ramp up really nicely. It's like, where do we go from here? You know, how long? If the South lose, this is them being incredibly cocky. They did. They have built the rockets. Smile. And welcome in, by the way. Good to have all of you in with us at the end of this, or what seems to be the end of the game, or should be the end of the game. 10 plus on North. They've built 3 rockets on North, but they haven't sent any of the signs yet. So 3 to 11. And I wonder, like, is the South's hubris just going to keep them away from winning the game? Yeah, you're right. 500k threat is not a kill with all those lasers. You're correct. Although I think there's a bit of an opportunity here because is this all working? Is this all firing? Like some of these reactors are still firing up, right? Oh no. So why not test out the nuke? Isn't there a perfect timing when the nuke isn't fired up correctly? Okay, they've taken that offline, I guess. So their major power buildings are here for the north. And again, look how close this is to the front line, guys. If you have a nuclear reactor within touching distance of your laser wall, that's a sign. That's ominous right there. Because if anything breaks, and again, we mentioned this earlier on, guys, in a previous stream, shoulder joints. Let me just get my drawing tools up real quick. The weakest part of any base's defense is a 90-degree angle. The reason being is that bugs can funnel into that 90 degree, and they chip away at it. This is really dangerous. This here and this here. And the fact that you have two 90-degree bends very close to your nuke is terrifying to me. You don't want that nuke under threat at all. And if I look at their front line, actually, let's take a look at that real quick. Because I haven't done a breakdown of the defense on north. Like, if it was to happen, what would we see? So let's do that right now. So as we all know, once the mega send happens, we are going to see... There we go. Right, I think that's a good position. Oh, wait, let me just square that up a little bit better. There we go. Let me just quickly turn off chat, and I'll keep myself in there. Drawing program, boom. It's a little bit ass backwards this, but never mind. We'll make do. We have 1. I'd argue that's 2. That's 3. That's 4. 5, 6, 7 right angles. Each of these are a vulnerability that take more damage than a straight line. And as we know, the bugs will come down and attack your wall at different spots and areas. They will also make it to the edge of the map and hit you here and hit you here. Now, I don't mind anything happening on the left-hand side, on the west. This is fine, this is manageable. I just worry a little bit that the moment the bugs break into here, they're going to go for your nuclear power first, right? And as wave number 1 here in red keeps crashing down, the moment those lasers start not getting funded by the electricity that they need, everything else becomes more efficient. Every attack becomes more deadly. Every threat becomes increased because you're not able to kill it off as fast. And we say this often, guys, but like the first wave might just break into this, and the second one here, third one, fourth one, fifth one. So like the first wave just needs to make a dent. It doesn't need to necessarily break through. All you've got to do, oh, I don't need this right now. All you've got to do is kind of just make a little bit of ground, and then the next wave just makes it in. And before you know it, like here for instance, they're on top of your nuke in this game. And that's what scares me about this build. Typically, in a game like this, and I'm hammering the point home to people that know, but I may as well just hammer the point home, a base needs to have 2 right angles, a shoulder basically on either side. You have 1 here and 1 here, and that's it. That's as many as I want in my base. And if you need to build it taller, build it taller. But these right here are beyond problematic for late game, and there's far too many of them. So 7 right angles compared to 2. I'd rather 2, but the north have 7. We'll take a look on south if they ever get attacked. I don't think they will, but you know, we live in hope. Alright, cool, and we're back. So, yeah, okay, well, yeah, they've just stuck with their pod design. They're now building a straight wall from the pods. Laser pods going down. They're not under any pressure, let's be honest. The south don't have anything to worry about right now. I'd worry, maybe. No, I'm not worried at all. This is completely fine. The only thing they're really messing around with here is blue chips, in terms of they need more to come in order to kind of push the rockets down. So, yeah, 2.5 hours into the game and North haven't put... I know, right? It's kind of tragic when you think about it. Not even one outpost with like a little bit of mill spam. I mean, the North is scaling. There's one thing to say, like they are scaling. This is rocket number 5. They are frighteningly close, considering how far away the South were in terms of ahead of the North. The North are now cranking out rockets. And if you're on the South, like, what are you doing? Like, what are we doing here? Big number go up. 13. Are we going to wait to 20? Because if the North build 5 and send 5, your entire map is under pressure. And if you need to wait for another 10 rockets to be built for in order for you to get your win condition, you're really missing out on pressure that you could get right now. It's never a gamble to increase the strength of the opposition, the bugs, right? It's never a gamble. It's always a win. If you can take them from 100% and turn them to 150, do it. Jimmy 50, you ready to defend? Confident? Well, the North seemed to... I might have been reading this wrong. I think we're going to see it. I don't know why. If the South don't send soon, we are. There it is. All their yellow. 5k. What are we doing? If the South don't immediately send back now, they are so fucked. The threat number is not necessarily the issue. Are they just going to wait it out? They don't have a wall everywhere. What are we doing, guys? You could lose the game from here. All it takes is for an attack. We didn't look at the South's defense, but I guess we're going to have to now. The bugs have obviously evolved into behemoths. That's great. And there will be bosses and waves and stuff, and we'll go through all of that. They have good laser upgrades, and that's good for them too. But the South are in a really weird position. They could have won this game 4 or 5 different ways in the last 30 minutes, and they seem to be making an absolute critical, nightmarish error. And it's purely based off of hubris. Like what, you want to wait to build 2 more rockets so that you have 15 rather than 13? You realize that 13 kills North, right? But if they build another 3 or 4 on North and send to you, you're dead. You are dead. I don't know, dude. I don't like this play at all. I'm never a fan of holding. It doesn't make me nervous. It's just risky, mate. And I do not like risk. There was a guaranteed pressure point where you could have hit hard. At the moment, and I'm going to do it, I know I just did North, but I want to do South now. Like, where are they vulnerable? In fact, it'd be easier to tell you where they're not vulnerable. Right, because the bugs, again, are going to come here and here. They're going to break into these right angles. They're going to come around the edges. Oh my god, this is nightmarish. They had all the time in the world to defend, and they didn't. So let me just zoom out real quick. I just want to take a 30,000 feet view of this and just look at where the bugs can come from, where they won't. Let's just turn me off. Right, here we go. So, I'm on the South, I'm on defense. Where are my problem areas? Let me circle 4 of them instantly. 1, 2, 3, and 4. These 4 areas, if you don't cover them now, they will bite you in the arse. Where are the attack patterns going to come from? Well, I can show you at least 2 or 3 of them, right? In red, obviously the bugs will come towards your laser wall. The laser wall is big, but it's not all-encompassing, so we will see waves make their way out and around. These out and around waves are game ending for the South. If a single western or eastern flank, like a lateral attack happens, they'll have nothing in place to defend them, and it will slam into critical infrastructure such as this enormous power block and whatever this is. Also, the base making lasers has just 2 pods of lasers defending it. They are not well positioned for defense here on the South, and it irks me that they haven't even bothered, or haven't thought maybe about just sending so that the North get pressured beyond this point. As you can see, the lasers are doing a good enough job, but it's the pockets of areas where the bugs hit you where you're not ready, because they're chipping in. Look at this, they're chipping into the wall. They're making it on top of your lasers. You're losing stuff at the moment, and because you don't have bots, every laser that lost has to be put down by a human player. So yeah, here we go. This first entry into the wall, that's 1 wave. It's going to be one hell of a comeback, mate. You're right. You are absolutely right. And the question is, like, what are we doing? Where are we? Where does this go from here? They camped. No, do you know what, mate? That's actually that's the perfect term. They camped a little bit. They set their tent up, and they just waited it out. Oh yeah, how many do we want? 15? I like 20. 20 is my lucky number. Yeah, we could win the game throwing 8, but I like 2-0. That's for me. Let's make 20. And the wall is in tatters. You're beginning to lose lasers. They're chopping into your defenses. You've barely dealt with like 20 to 40,000 of the bugs, and there's like another 200 to go. And again, these aren't the issue. These aren't the waves you're worried about. They will die, and you will replace the lasers here. It's these outer areas, these peripheral areas. They will get waves. They will come out here. Don't think they won't. We've seen it happen often. Oh my god, what is 6-7 by? Do you know, do I want to know? I asked this about Skibbity Toilet and I don't need to know. Oh my god, but yeah, generally speaking, I'm worried now. Again, we're not really, we're not producing satellites fast enough, it looks like. No, it's rocket, what? It's rocket fuel, boys. What are we doing? Lads, you need rocket fuel now, and there's about 4,000 sat in boxes. Oh my days, and we're losing players now. Yeah, they're just playing with toys. They're playing with big toys. And, oh, let's take a look here. Oh yeah, boys, how many rockets have you got? It's really troll. Honestly, it's really troll. How many rockets do we want to hold again? Is it... We want 100 rockets. Yeah, the base will be fine. Yeah, we've got guys that can threat farm. You know, 150% bugs. Yeah, it'll be fun. Well, we only lost 400 lasers, and that was just one wave. Here we are. This. You see this? You see what we talked about earlier on? I'm not making it up, boys. I am not making it up. They will take... This will go all the way to the bank. It's just... Oh, it's so predictable. Maybe I've played too much of this game mode. Maybe I've seen it all. And again, you can catch it, that's fine, and you can drive them past the lasers, but there will be a wave that you miss. Whilst you're dealing with this wave, there'll be another one, trust me. There always is. Another boss is brilliant. There's one person in this entire sector of the map, Pavev, dealing with this right now. And there are a full wave of bosses. Meanwhile, in the middle of the base, with nobody around it by the way, rocket fuel has eventually been swapped back. That's nice to see. Another rocket lands, they've made 15. I don't think they're going to send it all. I think the South are torturing their own teammates by just saying, hey guys, you know how it was like really comfortable 20-30 minutes ago and we could have won the game? Yeah, let's make your life difficult on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. You know? I get it though. You want, you build it up so you want to see it work. I am, in many ways, Encel, I am slightly rooting for the North as well. They struggled through, like, with serious levels of pain. And they haven't built many rockets, but they sent what they built, and they're winning off the back of that pressure. Meanwhile, on the South, like, yeah, it's going okay, but you don't want to be in this, you don't need to be in this position. I think that's the problem of it, the imposition of this position. You shouldn't be here. You do not need to be here. This is not for you. The game plan, the stars were aligning so that you never had to experience this. You have shot yourself in the testicle, reloaded the weapon, pointed it at your other testicle and gone, how many rockets do we need? And then pulled the trigger. And I would wonder and ask the question now, like, why are we doing this? I'm not miffed as much as I am irked and confused. As rocket number 16 goes into the sky, we carry on. It is a staller game. The person that wrote on Discord earlier on, it would be great if we didn't have a stall game, is stalling the game. Oh, they are. But it's kind of, it's relevantly equivalent, isn't it? You know, we're injuring ourselves to an unnecessary level, and the South aren't sending, and they have it. It's not like they want to have it, and they need to make it, right? They have 16 rockets, 16 Earthbound craft have been sent into space and returned the strongest science available. I might do that. One of these games, mate, I might do like a mid-game interview. Just to see where everybody's at. But yeah, with no robots to replace the wall as well, guys. It's just slowly degrading, slowly denigrating. They are losing lasers now as well. So they've lost 384 lasers. They have full 5,500, but they've lost 300, sorry, almost 400. Yeah, I think, like, find a player that has the time to. I don't want to bother anybody, but find a player that's like, hey man, can we have a quick chat? How's it going? What are you up to? What's your job? You know, what does the captain want from you? That kind of thing. This area is worrisome, guys. I'm worried about here. I'm worried about this. Oh, look, a wave far away from the lasers that we have. I wonder who's going to get this. Muddle box goes down. Another wave, and this isn't even built. We don't even have the walls down here, so these lasers are just going to get chewed up by this and spat out. It's honestly, guys, this is how games kind of used to go when we didn't have the calculator in, so we didn't know how much would eventually win the game or lose the game. This is tantamount to egregious behavior, buffoonery of the highest order. That's what this is. You don't want to be dealing with this. This does feel like a pub game, 100%. This feels like one of those pub games where one team is so far ahead and they're stacked and they're like, yeah, I've never sent 100 rockets before, so let's just, send 100. 17 now. Credit card gaming. What do they say nowadays? Payment sent, payment confirmed, yeah. Somebody on North has made a bit of a deposit. Oh, damn. You are correct. They're doing well here. I don't think they need to be here. They are here, and they're dealing with it, and they're skilled enough to deal with it. There are 20 people on the south, so you've got people like Pipes, a very storied player in our community, and they've managed to save these bugs slamming into. I mean, that would be devastating, and that was devastating. But unnecessary. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, they want to send 20 to unlock a mega bonus. Oh my god. Well, do you know what? It's made for interesting watching, I guess. I don't mind. Like, if the stream goes on for another 4 hours, I will cast the game. I just worry that, I just worry. I worry for a team that should have won. Remember, there are 20 odd people that played on the south, and if they lose because one person doesn't want to send, it's really on the captain's head. It's really on the captain's head. If whoever's down here, sorry, I do know who the captains are. It's been a while since I checked. If Joshua says we're not sending and you lose, the only person you have to blame, unfortunately, is Joshua, because you don't send randomly in this game mode. You have to have a plan. The captain says when you do what you do, and it's on him. And equally so, if he wins the game, it's on him. Meanwhile, rocket number 7 goes into the sky and 17k goes across to the north. That's what we like to see. There we go, boys. Very nice. 336%. 2.61 million bugs sit somewhere in the darkness, up in the northern sector of the map, waiting menacingly for buffoonery of the highest order to occur. We are about to see a bloodbath. And it's why we love the game so much. Again, some of the bugs that were weaker before still exist on the map, so we're still going to see 100% bugs that were there before. But this is wave number 1. That used to be a wall, and these are the lasers defending you. Let's see who wins. This is wave 1, guys. Oh, by the way, that's wave number 2. Power is oh no, power's not that great. It's dipping a little bit here. And again, that's wave number 1. This is wave number 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's probably wave number 6, 7, 8, 9. It's gonna be grisly. And yeah, this was an unnecessary risk from the south to take. I've got to take my hat off to the north. They fought and clawed their way back into the game and almost had the south. And it would not surprise me, by the way, is whilst all of this is going on, and apologies for the flipbook nature of this game, unfortunately the server now is spawning everything in, so it's struggling. It wouldn't surprise me if a wave makes it out here to the south and kills off south, so I'll stay on the north. We may need to kick the game speed down really low. Yeah, battle music. Yeah, oh yeah, dude, yeah, battle music. Let's go. Oh, sorry, I don't want to all caps this. We game speed. I think we need to go down to like 0.5%. So yeah, let me get battle music on. This is battle music territory right now. Boom. And I've got the playlist ready to go. Our first song, Walk of Destiny. Everything is crumbling on North. Effectively now, the bugs are so strong that even the strongest of lasers lay crumbled at their feet, as they with impunity continue to ravage and savage the base of the North. Their health, they are 1000% healthy. They do 336% damage, and obviously they've been evolved by 300,000. I will do that, Sensei. As we go on, as the base begins to crumble, the clown music, I think, is worth playing. Not because of North of Clowns, but because it's interesting, it's funny. So that will happen, mate, don't worry about it. What I need to do is I need to optimize my stream a little bit so I catch this. So I may need to turn off my 3D avatar. Yeah, let me do that. Let me turn off my 3D avatar, just to optimize my frames just a little bit. DJ Ghosty. Okay, who's ready? Behemoth bugs in the base, lasers clapping cheeks, power bouncing to yellow. Everybody drink your drinks, get to the dance floor. And if you don't know, that is my German DJ impression, the guy who talks over every song that's played. Sexy ladies, get ready to dance. Oh god, alright, enough of that. I've been streaming for almost 4 hours now. I need to take a break. Waves are crashing into the North. The lasers are just being devastated right now. 336%. This is just game. It will turn into a bit of a slideshow as we go near the end of the game, but the bugs are making their way in. And there's almost 2 million of them. Like, there is no escaping this. This is a pure infestation. This is chaos of the highest order. No build will survive. And if the wall can't take it, then the buildings won't either. And it is not going to be too long until we see a crumbling, a decimated northern effort. And I'd say GG to both teams, but I feel like the North got it slightly wrong in the mid game. Again, I'm not throwing shade out here, but it's a tournament game at the end of the day. I feel like the North slightly misplayed the mid game, and the South almost threw the end game. Almost. Really, really close. Oh yeah, the nuke. We'll see if they come here. Anybody in game, if you see the bugs near the nuke, please tell me. I want to make sure I catch it. So we want to see bugs chewing on these big spicy balls. These tasty big glowy green boys. Although I say that, there are waves just... They're done. They're reclaiming their land, heading towards the trains, moving towards the smelting lines. There is not a huge amount that any real player can do right now. These bugs are far too big, far too strong, and far too aggressive. And they just, without any resistance whatsoever, because nothing at this point can bear resistance to the sheer weight and power of these bugs. Everything just... I hope I can. Please don't cancel me. If you're part of the Twitch cancel club, please don't cancel me for saying big spicy balls. I've seen people do worse. Oh, wait, no. That's not from an explosion up here though, right? Okay, yeah, that's just power being turned off. Damn, boys. They gave it a good crack, didn't they? Red power now. I mean, there's not much to power, but the behemoths are closing in. The net is drawing close. And as we say that now, because Sensei asked for it, the clown music will commence. In a scary horror type way, this kind of works. Sorry, it's so befitting. And not that the North, I'm not clowning on the North, I'm not saying the North are clowns. Somebody asked for it, so I put it in. Oh my god, what a game. What a hell of a game. Almost 3 hours long, 336% from the North, 193 to the South. That was more of an old school game. Very much an old school type game.